Controversial influencer Andrew Tate has been banned from Facebook and Instagram.
They can't cancel me. They've tried, but they can't. They've failed to stop me. They've emptied their clip, and I'm still alive. The bullets have bounced off.
Most people that make a lot of money hide away. You don't hide away.
I've had a hard life. Even my day-to-day reality would be too stressful for 99.9% of people on the planet. How many people out there have such ridiculous sums of money? None of these people are getting these things by following the path the system is trying to make me follow. Most people who follow the path work, consume, die. What do you want? I was the most Googled man on the planet. More than Donald Trump, more than Joe Biden, more than Putin at the start of the war. I was that Googled. No matter what they do or what law they make, there's gonna be people who work harder than you. So if you're gonna be a lazy dummy watching Love Island and not try and think and use your brain, guess what? You're gonna stay fucking broke.
Do you think that your attitude towards women, boom in her face, is a little bit insulting towards women? You grip her up by the neck. Andrew Tate, thanks so much for your time.
Glad to be here, bro.
Appreciate it, man. What's life? What are you doing at the moment?
I'm here, there, and everywhere. 5 flights a week, you know, just trying to stay above water and fight the matrix. I'm enjoying this new episode. It's been quite an interesting battle with the whole mass cancellation thing and moving over to other platforms and that kind of thing. And I've been massively successful on those. So I'm just focusing on that for now.
And it's interesting because you've clearly made a lot of money.
Yep.
And most people that make a lot of money hide away.
Of course.
They make a load of money, they hide away. You don't hide away.
No, I do the absolute opposite.
Yeah, and as a result of that, you know, you've had a lot of backlash and the media have had a lot to say about you. But what's the reason? What is it that drives you to keep doing all these videos and putting out this content? Because you don't have to.
That's a good question. It's a really good question. And the reason people hide is because obviously there's a safety element that comes with having mass wealth and people knowing, you know, you have all these nice things and where you are and differing opinions. And there's certainly a disadvantage to it. But I feel like I'm in a unique position. I'm in a position where I can tell the truth on a lot of subjects. I don't think a lot of people can. The reason I became so widely known in the world, I don't think it was a magic spell. I think I was saying things that people understood and agreed with. Obviously, there was a percentage of the population that disagreed, but a whole huge contingent of the population agreed with me. And I'm in a fortunate situation where I can't really lose my job. I can't be canceled. They've tried that, and here I am. I'm still all over every single social media platform. So I think I have a duty to God to some degree to tell the truth. And I also believe that my children's children will look back at this period in history and they will be unhappy that not enough people stood up and told the exact truth, that too many people sat there and said, okay, well, I know this subject is bullshit, but I'm scared for my job, I'm scared of the HR department, I'm scared of getting canceled, I'm scared of the social media companies, I'm scared of whatever, so I'm just gonna sit and be quiet. And if you look throughout history, there's huge proportions of the population who were good people who decided to be quiet because they were afraid, and terrible things happened. So I think that I have a duty to God to run my mouth. So here I am.
What do you think your main message is? What's the main thing that you want to get across to the world?
My main message is to resist the slave mind. I say this all the time. To understand that every single thing you're being told has an agenda behind it, or you wouldn't be told it otherwise. To examine every strongly held belief you have and try and identify where it comes from and why you have it. I sit and argue with people, I discuss things with people, and they so fervently believe a point. And I say, why do you believe that so much? Like, do you have personal experience? No, but I saw the news. Why do you believe? The news told you X, and now you are desperate. You will sit here for hours arguing that point. A lot of people are completely empty vessels, ready to be programmed. And I try and tell people, listen, to just stop for a second and understand that the things they're telling you to believe are not necessarily for your benefit. The people who make the rules don't make the rules for the benefit of everybody. They make the rules for the benefit of the people who make the rules.
Yeah.
It's the game. So telling people to resist a slave mind and just be critical thinkers, keep their brain open, pay attention to things, be perspicacious, that's the general theme. And it doesn't matter whether you're left, right, liberal, man, woman, etc. It's just think for yourself. That's the general message.
Talk to me about the Matrix. When you say the Matrix are out to get you and all this stuff, who is the Matrix?
Have you seen the movie The Matrix?
I actually haven't.
You've never seen the movie?
No, I haven't.
Oh, bro, you got to watch it.
I imagine it's kind of like the Truman Show or...
Kinda. So basically in the Matrix, there's an artificial reality, a computer generated reality, and people are being harvested for their body heat in a real world, and their minds are being occupied by this computer generated reality. And the basic premise of the show is that their body is being used for what is important, and they just distract their mind so that their body can stay alive long enough to give the machines what they want. And I really truly believe that's a perfect analogy for the world today. We live in a world where people are being extracted for their value, their physical value, whether you're digging holes or carrying garbage or whatever. And your mind is constantly distracted by garbage. It's distracted by TV shows and concerts and clown world. I call it clown world because it's a never-ending circus. All this garbage they distract you with. First it's COVID, and then Putin cures COVID the day he invades and COVID's cured. And it's all just a big scam from head to toe. And the reason I call it the Matrix is because a false reality is being projected onto humanity, and they do that by controlling narratives. If they allowed people to have critical and open conversations about, let's say, COVID, at the height of the pandemic, it never would have lasted 3 years. But the reason, because they censor and delete one entire side of the argument, then you're only left with their version of reality, and they're projecting a reality. And they do that with nearly every subject. There are so many subjects you can't have an open discussion on. And if they delete all of one side and only keep one side there, then that's a false paradigm, it's a false reality, and that's what they're doing. And they're convincing people to act in certain ways and do certain things which are not necessarily in their best interest or necessarily true. We live in a world where I don't think the average person realizes how much they are lied to. From the way money works is a lie, financial system's a lie, judicial system's a lie, medical health care is a lie. It's all a lie. It's all a scam. Just go to work, pay your taxes. And that's why I call it the Matrix.
So what would you say the average person that's maybe, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm being controlled, maybe this isn't true, maybe that there's an agenda behind the mainstream media and the news and the government?
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, there is. I mean, this is the thing. You made a good point, because sometimes people say to me, well, maybe there is an agenda. What do you mean maybe? How can there maybe be an agenda behind the mainstream news? You're in charge of the world, you own the news. Are you going to tell the truth? If you had a bunch of slaves and a bunch of suckers working their asses off for pennies, are you going to tell them the truth? Would you?
I mean, I can't possibly imagine that situation.
Why the fuck would you tell them the truth? The truth? How does the truth benefit?
So what's their benefit then? They own everything. They own the newspapers, the media. What is the agenda of the Matrix?
The agenda is just narrative control.
Right.
The agenda is narrative control, and as long as they control a narrative, they can control the populace to do whatever they need them to do. It doesn't matter if they convince you to be afraid of the common cold and stay in your house and destroy your own business and not see your own fucking grandmother for 2 years. It doesn't matter if they convince you that the planet's setting on fire and global warming is real, and now for some reason if they tax you, it'll fix it. It doesn't matter what it is. They create a narrative. They prevent people from talking the counter to that narrative. They now own reality. You change all the Google search results. Everything online says a certain thing must be true. And then you weaponize it for your own benefit, whether it's higher tax rates or more control over our movement or giving people's freedoms away, etc. The world used to be based on freedom, especially in the Western world. During communism, etc., the Western world used to stand up and say, the difference between us and the communists is that we're free. You live in this country, it's a free country. It's a free country. But that's not the truth anymore. So now that everyone's starting to slowly understand it's not a free country, you have to replace the freedom with something else. And the only thing that humanity will accept in return for freedom is safety. So they say, listen, you're no longer free. You can no longer say what you want to say or go where you want to go or do what you want to do. You can't go outside for this 3 years. You can't do that. You can't drive that car because of fucking the polar ice caps, whatever it is. But don't worry, it's for your safety. We're going to keep you safe. And that's what it is. It's all a big fucking scam. It's a lie. The people in charge of the world don't give a shit about our safety. If something bad happened to you, heaven forbid, let's say me. Let's say I got a terrible disease. Let's say I got cancer and I went to the NHS. I'd be waiting fucking months to get anything done. But then they want to text me 4 times a day, begging me to take an injection. And that's for my own good. It's bullshit. It's a scam. It's a fucking scam. Head to toe, all of it's a scam. It's a lie.
One of the first videos I saw of yours was about university.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting to me.
Another scam.
Well, interesting, yeah. I mean, I wasn't very good at school, and when I was at school, I feel like at school, certainly my experience is they push you down one of 2 directions. It's either go on to be academic, go to university, or if you're a bit of a dum-dum, then learn a trade, go to college, learn to be a builder. And for me, I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna have to go down the second route. Yeah. And when I was 16 and I was doing a bit of Googling, I came across some, interesting books like Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. And it was just crazy to me because I'm 16 and I'm thinking there's this whole other world about investments and business and entrepreneurship, which is completely not taught at school.
Completely, because that's not, and it's interesting you say that because I have this saying and nobody seems to understand it. I say money's not real. And people say, what do you mean money's not real? Money's not real. It's not real. Money's not real. It's numbers on the screen. It's not a real thing. And once you start putting systems in place that generate huge sums of money, and once you get to the point where money basically has no value, like I do, I can go buy a Ferrari today and my bank balance will look basically the same. It doesn't change anything. So money isn't real. It's just numbers. It's all fucking invented. It's printed from the sky. It's garbage. You just have to find a way to make people understand your value. And yeah, it can just appear from absolutely nowhere. And I went from completely broke to hundreds of millions of dollars. And I know what you're saying in regards to this other world, because there is a subsect to humanity. It's kind of strange. When I was broke, when I was on a council estate in Luton, I thought everyone was poor. And now that I have money, it kind of feels like everyone's rich. I go to buy a plane and they're like, no, I'm sold out. Thought you fucking sold out of planes? I go to buy a Bugatti and they're like, sold out. I'm like, all the shit's
Who are these people?
Yeah, everyone's bought everything. Like,
yeah.
And it's crazy how many people out there have such ridiculous sums of money, truly ridiculous sums of money. There are so many rich people in the world, and it's kind of like your reality is based on, it's the Matrix, right? If you're broke, everyone's broke. If you're rich, everyone's rich. And a lot of people have this separation. I was lucky to live in both worlds, but a lot of people have this separation.
Yeah.
So.
And most people in that rich world are quiet about it.
Yeah.
Maybe because, have you noticed as well with the media, in every movie, the jerk is always a rich guy. You know, Titanic, Jack's poor, but the narrative, I don't know if it's the same, you grew up in America, right?
Well, you have to, but you have to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself from, obviously, crime. You have to protect yourself from governments. You have to protect yourself from backlash. A lot of people do not see the risk reward of being so loud and so vocal.
Yeah.
I do, in my particular circumstance. But yeah, it'd be easier to be quiet about certain things.
The only thing more annoying to British public about someone being rich is them being rich and vocal about it.
And that's and I understand why, but I mean, I built absolutely all of it myself. I started, like I said, from a council estate in Luton. I did all of it myself. And it's interesting you said about discovering that other world, because I always knew the same thing. When I was going to college, you're talking about the two routes. There was A-levels and less B-Tech. They used to call it, yeah?
College or
college, B-Tech, like the trades, or there was A-level to go to university. So I did a separate path to you. I was going to the A-levels to go university. And I was walking to college with a couple of my friends, and a Ferrari drove past. And I said, bro, you see that? And he goes, yeah, what about it? I said, doesn't that piss you off? I must have been about 16. He goes, why? So this dude has 400 G's for a car, 400 grand. I'm walking 4 miles to college because my mom hasn't got any car. He has 400 grand. Do you think he works a job? Do you think he's fucking behind a counter somewhere? He knows something about the world that I don't know.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, he's rich. I'm like, yeah, I know. I didn't say he wasn't rich, dummy. I'm saying he knows something about the world I don't know. And I was intrigued, and it angered me. I couldn't sleep for weeks. I was pissed off. Every time I saw somebody with genuine money, I understood that everything I was being told and taught and they were trying to make me believe just simply wasn't true. I was like, this is bullshit. None of these people are getting these things by following the path that the system is trying to make me follow. Yeah. Nobody, and everybody intrinsically knows this. If you go to if you're at a BP, you're at a petrol station, and I pull up in my Lamborghini, nobody goes, wow, he went to school. Yeah. He studied hard.
Right.
Do they fuck? They're like drug dealer, gangster. And they do that because they know that the easiest way to amass wealth is to break the rules, because the rules are not designed to allow most people to make money. You can make money within the rules, of course you can, but most people don't. Most people who follow the path work, consume, die. That's it.
Yeah.
So I always knew the same thing as you, and I knew there had to be another way. I knew that just working for money was a paradigm that wasn't true. And then you understand making your money work for you, and you understand delinking your time from money. Yeah. You start learning to understand these things, but eventually you build a system, and you build an ecosystem like me. I have 60 or 70 people work for me all around the world. And things just happen, and money just kind of appears as long as everything's well organized.
Do you think that it's kind of becoming more well-known, though, entrepreneurship and how to get into business now than it was, say, 10, 20 years ago?
It's certainly easier to make money now than ever before.
I think so.
Oh, it's easier than ever before to make money. I meet so many fucking 17-year-olds, 19-year-olds, kids with an e-com store or some crypto garbage, or to make quick, fast money now is almost easier than it's ever been. Now, that has advantages and disadvantages. I was talking to a young guy the other day, and he was 22, I think, and he caught a crypto pump. He made like $4 million in the last bull run, and now all the coins have gone down, whatever. He sold some. He has like $1.5 million. He's like, oh yeah, so I'm waiting for the next pump. I was like, bro, the problem with you is you've now been ruined for life, because you're 22, you made easy money, and you think that you don't have to ever do any serious work. You also have no skill. Problem is with the crypto pump, it doesn't teach you anything. He didn't learn sales, marketing,
Yeah.
staff management,
Yeah.
stress tolerance.
You need that.
Nothing. He doesn't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
So he's just sitting there just gambling on shit coins, waiting for the next one to pump. And he's 22, and his ass is never going to want to get a real job, and he doesn't have any skills. So I think he's in a lot of trouble, truthfully. And I made this clear to him. So it can be a detrimental thing. It can be a bad thing. But in terms of making money, it's certainly easier than it's ever been because we live in a global marketplace now. You can reach the world, and all you have to do is have a message worth making people listen to. The hard part about making money today is that we live in an attention economy. You have to garner attention from people. It's difficult, right? Because anyone can start a YouTube channel, but it's getting the views that's hard, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be talented enough and skillful enough to garner attention. But if you can garner attention, then you can make money. I think that's the new modern way to view the world. It's an attention economy. It doesn't matter what you do. If you're getting attention, you'll make money from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's happening en masse.
Interesting as well, because when I first started getting interested in investments and stuff, I'd start going on courses, getting mentors. Because if you want to be good at anything, you need a coach.
Yep.
If you want to, you're a world champion kickboxer.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would have been impossible if you hadn't have paid for a coach.
Absolutely.
Right. And all my friends at the time were saying to me, "Oh, that's so risky.
Yeah.
What are you doing?" And I'm thinking, you're going to uni to study drama. For 4 years, and I'm learning about property and investments, and you think what I'm doing is risky.
Yeah, investing in yourself, especially learning from somebody who is already doing what you want to do, is not risky. And you're right. The people who believe that's risky are just stuck deep inside the matrix. Because you're right, they're going to pay 60, 70,000 pounds for a degree from university, which is one, completely useless. And secondly, it's always kind of been amazing to me. You talked about kickboxing. If I want to go learn kickboxing, I expect my coach to be able to fight. If I want to go learn piano, I want to see my piano teacher play piano. Yeah. But people will go to university and learn business from a dude who's never had a business, who's broke. It's just like, it's clown world. It's stupid. Yeah. Like, education's becoming decentralized, which is actually one of my products, so I'm going to talk about it. But education is becoming decentralized now with the internet. And the smartest thing you can do is look at somebody's life and go, this guy is living, or he's doing exactly what I want to do. I'll learn from him. Mm-hmm. That is the smartest thing you can do, as opposed to just going to these traditional educational systems. Because the reason university is such a massive scam, and I said this a million times, is because it exists in an echo chamber. It doesn't exist in fair competition. The reason universities still manage to function is because they'll give children loans to go to these schools, but you're not allowed to use the loan for anything else. If I were to say to the average 18-year-old, here's 50 grand. You can either start your own business, you can buy a crypto, you can buy mentorship from you, me, another millionaire online, you can fix your house up or your parents' house up, you can buy a nice car, or you can go get a degree. And you were to give them the 50 G's. How many people do you think would choose a degree?
None.
Nobody. Zero. So they link the loan to the degree. So the choices are either don't get the loan at all, or get the loan and go to school. Yeah. Which means that the universities don't exist in fair competition. There's no fair competition within the entire educational system. Right. As soon as there's fair competition, nobody would choose it because it's such a terrible choice. Yeah. It suffers from double inflation. It gets more expensive every year, and more degrees exist every year. So the value goes down, the price goes up year on year on year on year. It's a total waste of time. Yeah. But children are bored and they think, well, I don't get the money any other way, so I may as well take it. And that's why the whole educational system's a scam. I actually have my own university. I'm relaunching it. I'm changing the name, and it's going to be relaunching very shortly. But I have a university that teaches 18 modern wealth creation methods, and it's purely online. And we teach a different way to make money than perhaps the traditional system. And it's cheap. It's like $50, $60 a month. Mm. For me to get 100,000 students like I have now at $60 a month is not impressive. What's impressive is that I keep them. I'm giving more value than the $60 a month. They can go and spend that $60 in Nando's or buy some coffee or do anything else they want with it. But they choose to go to my school because I'm existing in a fair, competitive environment and I'm outperforming. A university can't do that. All these other universities can't do it because they're all a fucking scam.
Yeah, they're probably comparing it to university where you're literally paying 30 grand to learn from someone who's being paid 30 grand to get 30 grand.
It's all a scam, yeah. Whereas what we're doing is actually, teaching people. We have massive success stories. Obviously, we have a lot of people who are making a lot of money. We have all the reviews, everything on the website, CobraTate.com. But the fact that people have a choice, they don't have to invest in my university. They can take that money and spend it on anything else on the planet, and they still see my university as worthwhile. Yeah. That's how I know it's a competitive product.
Surely you think there's a place for university there?
If you want to be an architect and you have to study architecture, if you want to be a lawyer and you have to study law, that's fine. If you decide I personally never knew what job I wanted to do These people seem to be very passionate about a particular trade. I just wanted to have a lot of money. If you were to say, look, I'll pay you $1 million to dig a hole, I would have dug a hole.
Yeah.
I'll pay you $1 million to fly a plane, give me a joystick.
Yeah, but if someone wants to be a doctor, they want to be a lawyer, go to
university and do it.
Yeah, but know what you're doing it for. Don't go and study drama and end up a dramatic McDonald's worker 5 years later.
Yeah, or don't study something generic like business or something generic. And even though business is obviously a good thing to know, but it's generic and it's hard to apply. I mean, in my experience, like imagine if I didn't have all this money and I had to go get a job again, I'd get a sales job because I've always been a salesman. And I think that's a very important life skill to have, to be good at sales and to deal with the stress and have a commission-only environment. And I think these things are good. But they don't even, I don't know if they even teach sales in university. Do they have any serious sales courses? I hardly doubt it. It's all garbage. They don't teach anything important. They just teach anything. They teach things that are going to keep you inside the slave mind. And they want you to go to school and then go to college and then go to university and get in debt. And you have to be in debt so that now you have to work. And you're working and you're in debt. And then they want you to take on more debt if possible in the form of a mortgage, which a lot of people do, which we can talk about because I know you're the property guy.
Massive, yeah.
And then you're in debt now. And once you're in debt, you can't really quit your job and it's very difficult for you to leave the country. And now they can hold things over you. That's the goal. It's all about control mechanisms, and the system is very well designed to make sure that people are conditioned to obey. It's very hard for the average person to say no to anything. Unless you have millions and millions and millions of dollars, it's very difficult to even have an opinion on subjects. I have friends with normal jobs, and they say to me in private, yeah, man, bro, I wish I could talk at work. They can't say anything. HR will wreck them. You're not allowed an opinion. You're not allowed to talk. It's just work, consume, die, shut up, believe what you're told. That's how it is. It's clown world. It's the slavery.
I think when it comes to the finances and what I've heard you say about money, I think you're pretty bang on.
Yeah.
I know you've been recently cancelled. Well, you cancelled. You're still everywhere on social media.
They can't cancel me.
You're still everywhere on social media.
They've tried, but they can't.
What do you think the reason was? I mean, I've seen some of the things that you've said that are controversial.
That's not why they canceled me. They attempted to cancel me because I became the most Googled man on the planet. And I had mass influence over the youth, especially males, 18 to 23, 24-year-old males. Yeah. And those are the backbone of the slave force. And we always have been and always will be. It doesn't matter if you look at modern times or ancient times. If you had to build an aqueduct or a road or raise an army, you'd go and find the 18 to 22, 23-year-old fighting age males. We're the most important demographic on the planet. We're the strongest. We have the most energy. We're the most capable of doing the most difficult tasks. And they try very hard to police that demographic. Specifically, the reason that they talk all this garbage about toxic masculinity and the reason that they purport in every single movie that men are getting beaten up by chicks and every single family movie on Netflix, the woman's the smart one and the dad's a bumbling idiot and all these different things is they're trying to reduce the masculine tendency to rebel to a degree because they want this subsect of the population ready to either go die in a ditch or go work for fucking nothing. And what they don't want, the last thing they want is this subsect of the population to think, because that's the subsect of a populace which causes a revolution. If millions of 18 to 25-year-old men stand in one place, that's a revolution. That's it. It's over. It's not the women marching. The women can march. That's fine. But when shit happens, men have to come along and deal with it. Police have to protect them. Women can march and have an opinion. That's great. But an actual revolution is going to be men, because eventually it's going to become violent. And they don't want large groups of men standing up and going, wait, 3 years you just took all our money, destroyed our businesses. Now the pound is falling. You're inflating us out of the housing market. We don't stand a chance of ever having any kind of financial independence. You're destroying our energy sector to save Ukraine, money laundering. This is garbage. And if enough of them get in a big group in London, then something has to change. And they don't want anything to change. So they try and keep this population subdued. And I'm telling them to do the opposite. I'm telling them to think. And that's the last thing they want. So they decided, Andrew's telling the population, the subsect of the population that we're most fearful of, to think for themselves. So Andrew has to go. And they attempted to cancel me. They have failed. Now I have to make sure they don't try and suicide me. That's the next goal. Well, because what happens if you don't shut up eventually, that's what comes next. So for everyone watching at home, I would never kill myself. But it's interesting times we're living in, that's for sure.
How did it make you feel when you got removed off of all social media platforms? I mean, were you upset about it? Were you?
Top G, bro. I've been around. I've had a hard life.
Yeah.
I've had a hard life. I've had a difficult upbringing. I've had very difficult situations. Even my day-to-day reality would be too stressful for 99.9% of people on the planet. Losing Instagram accounts are not.
But you predicted it would happen as well.
I predicted. I've been talking about it for a long time. I said there's no way they're going to allow me to stay on these platforms. It's not in their best interest for me to stay on these platforms. It's not in their best interest for people who watch my products, watch my content and buy my products to sit there and go, I don't need anything else. This guy's telling the truth. I'm listening to him. I'm making more money than ever before. My life is better than it's ever been. Fuck school, fuck uni, fuck you, fuck the news, fuck you. I'm following Andrew. And that's why they wanted to try and get rid of me. It failed. I've moved over to Rumble now. I'm on rumble.com. And the stock price has blown up ever since I've moved over, and I've got 600,000 subs inside of 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. So
that's big on Rumble.
Yeah, bro, it's massive on Rumble. Like, no one talked about Rumble, right? So they've failed to stop me. They've emptied their clip, and I'm still here. I'm still alive. The bullets have bounced off. But that's the real reason they canceled me. I don't know if you know the story of Socrates. Socrates had to poison himself. He was arrested, and he was accused of corrupting the youth. That's why. He was tried for making the young military-aged men of Greece think for themselves. That's not allowed. You're not allowed. Since the dawn of human time, you're not allowed to do that. And I'm committing the cardinal sin. I'm saying to men, listen, they're trying to tell you X, and that's garbage. The truth is Y. And that's why they decided to leave.
What do you think is going to happen over the next few years with the cost of living crisis, which is not just in the UK, it's pretty much all over the world.
Yeah.
People are literally, the average salary is about 25, 30 grand a year. Everything's going up apart from salaries. How do you see the next few years panning out?
I'm going to say this now, and I'm someone from a council estate. I don't have a clue how the average person is still surviving. I don't get it. Like 25, 30 grand a year in the current world is such a tiny amount of money. It's man, it's about to be worse than ever before. It's going to be have-nots and have-yachts. It's always been that way.
Yeah.
But it's going to become worse and worse. As inflation gets out of control, as the price of assets soar, the rich are going to become richer and the poor are going to become poorer. I don't think that most people, I'm going to correct myself, I know that most people don't understand economics as a whole. They don't understand money as a whole, because if the people watching this, if they all understood how all this shit worked, there'd be a revolution tomorrow. So they don't understand any of it. But it's very difficult for a government to even pretend to give a shit about the average person to me, because I understand how all this works. So the government comes along and decides to give out free money. The average person in the middle or at the bottom goes, wait, free money, government cares about the poor person. No, they don't. Let's keep it very simple. Let's say they gave every person in the UK £1,000. They're either going to save that money, or they're going to spend that money, or they're going to, let's say, invest that money. If they spend that money, which is what 90% of them would do, it goes to corporations, making the corporations filthy rich. The stock price of Amazon during COVID went to the moon, because everyone's sitting at home bored, just buying stuff, right? So there's less corporations than there are people. So let's say you give everyone in the UK £1,000. A lot of that money goes to one guy, Jeff Bezos. The rich get richer, just like before. Let's say they invest it. Well, they're going to invest it in what? The stock market? Well, that increases the share price of companies. Who owns companies? Rich people. Let's say somehow 200 of these people are best friends and they're never going to argue, and they get together and they get £200,000 and they buy a house, for example. That's still going to raise the price of housing on that street. The house owners, the homeowners are going to get richer. The people who already own things, the asset owners, are always going to get richer. No matter what you do, the people who are poor are always going to get poorer, and the asset owners are always going to get richer.
Yeah.
And it's running away now to a point where the chance of buying a home on the average salary is near on impossible. I mean, you know some hacks, you know some things about it, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know how people are surviving on this money. Because I come from a council estate in Luton, that's fine. But now I'm living in a world where I can talk a bunch of rich people stuff right here. For me, it's very normal now to jump on a jet from Bucharest, where I live in Romania. I'll go to Monaco, that's 30, 40 grand. We'll go stay in a hotel, which is 5 grand a night. We'll go out for dinner, 3 or 4 of us, that costs 15, 20 grand. We'll have a business meeting, and I'll jet home. I'll spend 250,000 pounds in a weekend to go to a meeting. and I'm not the only one doing it. There's 30 other guys there doing the same thing. Like, I don't think people who are working normal jobs understand that there are people out here making such ridiculous sums of money. And that would be the hardest thing for me if I ever had to get plugged back into the matrix and work for 30 grand a year. Is not the wage, just knowing how badly I'm being wrecked.
Yeah.
I'd be like, knowing how much I'm being screwed would just upset me. But yeah, it's going to get harder and harder. It's not going to get any easier. The government has no power to legislate money into the hands of the poor. They can take more money off the rich, or they can attempt to. We can talk about that in a second, because they really can't. But they can attempt to take more money from the rich. But throughout the bureaucracy and the way the machine works and the corruption inside of every government, by the time let's say they take 100 million, let's make it easy numbers, maybe 30 million of it might end up kind of somewhere a little bit. And then we have the same problem we discussed earlier. The poor people just spend it, goes back to the rich people.
Yeah.
Like it's just the way the whole system's set up. The average people come to me and say, what do I do? I'm just the average guy. And my only answer is stop being the average guy. That's my only answer. You can't just be the average guy anymore. The idea from the 1950s that you can just be the normal, average, law-abiding, hard-working citizen and you'll have a good life is gone. Any man out here who goes, I'm just going to work hard, do my bit, and obey the laws, and I'll have a good life. No, you won't. No, you will not. Just doing your job is never going to make you rich, because you're just going to be taxed into infinity and you're going to stay broke. So just obeying laws and doing your job now has set you up to be a peon and a slave for eternity. You have to get yourself in a position where you're making enough money that, I'm not saying laws can be broken, but there certainly can be bent. I mean, I think you know this with accountancy and the way that tax laws work. You get to a certain level where it's like, okay, yeah, we can just put that one to the side. We can twist that one around.
Arnold Schwarzenegger says, break the rules, but don't break the law.
Completely, yeah, and that's basically it, right? So you get to a certain level, and that's where it's really interesting, because the average peon, their answer to all this is, we need to tax the rich, because they don't understand how money works, and they don't understand how the world works, and they think that rich people are out here working some kind of job that you can tax. How do you tax a rich guy? How do you tax a rich man? Firstly, let me tell you something about myself and most rich people. We don't own anything. I don't own anything. I don't own anything. There may be a trust fund in Ecuador that owns a company in Singapore that might own a yacht that I can borrow, for example. But I don't own shit. So that's the first thing. The second thing, you have all these different jurisdictions around the world. It's extremely complicated. How are you going to tax a rich guy? He has houses here, houses there, company here, company there, all the companies making a loss. Does Starbucks pay tax? No, Starbucks supposedly doesn't make money. Supposedly Uber's never made profit. An app on the phone with millions of cars around the world and people working endless hours for them and them getting a cut of it to run an app. Supposedly they've never made profit, never paid a penny tax. Funny how that works. You can't tax the rich. It's too complicated. You can't tax the rich. It doesn't work. All you're going to do is just drive them into other countries. If England right now today were to announce a huge tax on the rich people would just go, oh, cool. I'll base my company out of Belize. 2 pieces of paper, fuck you.
I mean, can I push back a little bit on that point? Is that okay?
Sure.
I mean, you say rich don't own anything. I don't know. I know quite a few billionaires. Yeah. I don't know any billionaires that don't own stuff. All of my friends who are billionaires own a lot of stuff, myself included. Land, properties, businesses.
And that's an interesting way to look at it. So when I say don't own anything, I mean, I don't want to work on a public podcast here. I guess it depends on your ethos towards business. The problem with owning something is that it can be taken from you. So let's look at it the American way. In America, litigation is a big problem. Everyone gets sued all the time. So you don't want to own anything, because if you get sued, then you're going to have to pay that debt. And you might have to sell your assets to pay that debt.
Not if it's in a company, though. If it's a limited company.
Correct. This is the point. So people don't own anything themselves.
Okay, so they only through their company.
It's a limited company owns it. A trust owns it.
Exactly.
So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at the Panama Papers.
Yeah.
Look at it, and then it gets really complicated. And this is what I'm saying, where the average Joe Schmo at home has no idea how this stuff works. Yeah. Because let's look at Nike, for example. Nike doesn't pay any tax. Why does Nike not pay tax? Well, I'll give you a very simple version. They have two companies. One set up in Belize with a 1% tax rate. One set up in Europe. The one set up in Europe sells Nike trainers, pays all the staff, pays the stores, sells all the shoes, makes all the money, blah, 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 makes millions and millions and millions in profit. The one in Belize owns the trademark. So after 100 million, 200 million, whatever it is, comes into the European company. The European company has a debt to Belize to use the trademark of all the profit. Yeah. Isn't that coincidental?
Yeah, right.
That goes to Belize. Then Belize government comes along and goes, give us 1%. Nothing. Boom, boom, done. Tax paid. It's all a scam. It's all a lie. It's all a scam. The person who get fucked, it's always the same. It's the guy in the middle.
Yeah.
The guy in the middle is going to get wrecked. It makes me laugh when they talk about, we're going to increase taxes, da-da-da. When they talk about increases taxes, they're not trying to chase down the billionaire on his yacht, because they can't. They're trying to chase down the guy with an address, who can't move, can't leave, he has a mortgage debt, 2 kids and a dog, living somewhere in Sunderland, and he's stuck there. There's a cost-benefit analysis and there's a risk return on every action that we take as humans. If I was in charge of a tax authority, I'd sit there and go, okay, we have all these millionaires and they're all on jets and they're everywhere and they have 7 passports and these complicated corporate structures, and this is going to take years to penetrate. We need money now. Who can we get now? Oh, we'll get him. Some dude. Turn up, you owe us money. How much? 50. I don't have 50 grand, I'll pay you 10. Cool, thanks. Because he can't resist it. The guy in the middle can't resist. And this is why I'm saying about having things in your name. When you have things in your name, you're in trouble, because if you say no to that tax bill, what do they take? Your house, your car. They just take your shit. So that's why, I mean, I don't know about your structure, and obviously we can't talk on an open podcast, but the richest people I know don't own anything. They don't own anything.
Yeah, their companies will.
Well, but it can get even more advanced than that, because companies can then still be litigated, but trusts can't.
Let me ask you a question then. What are you buying? What are you investing in right now? And you don't have to go into details. I know we're on a public podcast, but what sort of stuff are you making a lot of money, clearly? Where are you dumping that besides supercars?
Yeah, supercars are just, I need to stop. I have 28 supercars now. It's got to a level of ridiculous now where all the car brands just text me, hey, new Lamborghini's coming. What color do you want? I'm like, black. I just buy. I don't even know what they look like. I just buy them.
But I think it's an important question, because there are going to be people watching this that are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs, business owners, making a lot of money, and they're thinking, look, I got this money. Where do I dump it? Where do I put it?
Yeah, but there's money and there's money, right? So it's different, because making 100 grand a week or 100 grand a month is very different than making, let's say, $1 or $2 million a week or 300-400 grand a day. It all depends. But yeah, that's the biggest problem. The actual genuine problem with the world now is trying to find a place to put it, especially with inflation as rampant as it is.
Yeah.
Inflation, I think they tell us it's 9 or 10%. If you believe that, you're an absolute idiot. It's much higher than that. British pound's getting wrecked. Pound is getting wrecked.
Yeah.
So like energy prices are going to go to the moon. On top of that, the currency's inflating, so we're just printing it because we have to try and fix these problems. And it's difficult. Where do you put it?
And that's my concern.
And you can put it into hard assets, but then hard assets come with a new problem, because my personal view is that I wanted to be rich, and then I got rich. And then I realized what I actually wanted was to be free. And they're different things. There's a lot of people who are rich, but they're not free.
Yeah.
They can't say the things I'm saying on a podcast. They can't tell a government to get fucked like I can. If I were to just buy a bunch of houses in England and continue talking like I'm talking on a long enough time scale, they're going to take them. This is the thing. You don't own houses. That's the reason I'm not a big real estate guy. People say, oh, I own my house. Oh, you own it. Let's talk about your owning that house. Go out and park somewhere. Get a parking ticket. Don't pay it. Okay, so they add more money. Don't pay it again. Give you a court date. Don't go. They send a bailiff. Don't pay him. On a long enough time scale, may take a year, may take 2, may take 3, sooner or later, they're going to come with a big enough piece of paper and a big enough bailiff, and they're going to take your fucking house. They're going to say, you owe us this money. This is your asset. Give us your asset. You don't own it if they can take it from you anytime they want. And that's what they'll do. A judge will get a new piece of paper, stamp a new piece of paper, and they'll take it. Because the governments have a monopoly on violence. And that's the true underpinning of the world. The true underpinning of the world is violence. We live in a world now, which is a society which is based on violence from the absolute ground up. Not many people look at that and understand that. And the government are the only people who are allowed to be violent. And that's why they can get away with whatever they want. But everything is violence. There's a threat of violence within everything. The reason a police officer can give you a fine and you don't tell him to piss off is because you don't want him to be violent with you. That's it. He always has that in his back pocket. They've always got violence in their back pocket. That's what the government has. So to sit and go, I trust the government, I'm going to buy this nice big house, I just think that's to a degree. Yeah, you can make money. And yeah, everything's fine as long as you follow the rules. I'm not saying it's not. But in my situation, in my worldview, it's like I don't like having someone having that kind of control over me. So to answer your question, sorry, because I'm trying to be a professional. So real estate's difficult. The currency markets are trash. Stock market's about to go down to fucking zero. It's hard. Like, it is difficult to sit there with hundreds of millions of dollars and go, what do I do with it? Where does it go? It's hard. And I found some solutions, which I can't say on the podcast, but it's difficult.
I mean, I'm gonna have to come back to the real estate thing in a second.
Sure.
Because of course I want to defend real estate.
Absolutely.
So what are you buying, bro? Just a hint. I know you can't go into detail, but like, is it forex? Is it crypto? Is it business?
Yeah, you have to diversify. You diversify, and then you look for emerging markets.
Right.
And truly, what I'm doing now at my stage of my life is buying power. So I thought I wanted to be rich. I didn't want to be rich. I wanted to be free. You're only free with power. And in the American political system is a perfect example of lobbyists and lobbying.
Yeah.
So like, they will lobby for things. They'll come along and say, I'll give you an example. Why are there no high-speed trains in America? America's huge and rich. High-speed trains would be fantastic for America, but the rail network is basically non-existent. The reason is because the oil companies lobby both political parties to make sure that they don't build trains, everyone drives. Long highways is good, sells a lot of gasoline. That's what they want. So once you get to a certain level of money, you realize you want political friends. So you're like, okay, I want this law, or I want this law to work this way. Or I just want someone I can call if this happens to me. And you just start giving a lot of money away, effectively. And you're trying to buy power, and that's the way it's always worked. That's what these huge corporations and companies do. Why do you think they're paying 0% tax? You think we could come for them if we really wanted to, but we won't. Because the whole system is so rigged. We can talk about this forever, but people don't understand the whole system is so entirely rigged. You and me are both gonna run for a position. We're gonna go both run for, let's say, the mayor of nowhere town, some imaginary place. I've sold my soul to the devil and you haven't. So you're an honest man and you want to make the companies pay tax. I don't give a shit, I just want power. So the companies give me money. So one, I get a nicer campaign trail. Two, the companies also own all the media, so they lie about you, tell the world you're evil, like they just lied about me. They lie about you, tell all the horrible things they can, say I'm a good person. They fuck with your bank accounts, mess with you, lie with you in the media. You're trying to run your campaign. I'm fully funded. The media's on my side. Tour bus, posters, Who's going to win? I win. And then what do I do in return for the company who I sold my soul to? Don't worry about tax. Don't worry about it. We'll just tax that dude in Sunderland. He'll pay the tax. Don't worry about it. It's a scam. It's all a lie. Whole system's a lie. All of it from head to toe. Every single thing is a lie. And I think a lot of the reason average people don't know this or pretend they don't know this is because by pretending to be ignorant, they can sleep at night. Because if they truly understood it, they'd be like, I'm in the matrix. My whole existence is a waste of time.
Yeah. No, I think the thing is, Andrew, you are a straight talker, right? And that's one of the things I think so many people love about you. You say it absolutely as it is. And my fear is, if you say, real estate's dangerous, this is dangerous, people will not know what to do and they'll end up doing nothing, leaving their money in the bank.
That's true.
Help us out.
Okay, that's true.
Help us out.
When I say real estate is dangerous, now firstly, you can make money with real estate. You can make money with real estate. I'm not saying it's dangerous from that perspective. I'm talking about my own personal ideology. Yeah. My personal ideology is I don't want to be within control of a government. I don't want a government to control me. If I didn't think that way, then I'd be a lot less opposed to real estate. I mean, a house is always gonna be worth something. It ain't gonna go to zero. You know, it's not like a risk like a crypto or a stock that can go to zero. A house will always be worth something, and you can definitely make a lot of money in it. I'm just at the position where I just don't want to have a government to have control of me. And this recent war proved it. Look at all these billionaire Russians who fair and square bought property in London by the law, paid their price, paid the stamp duty, stuck to the rules. Then the president of their country did something they may not have even agreed with it. Who do they know? Do you agree with everything the prime minister does now?
No.
Neither do I. And then the British government came along and just took all their houses off them.
Here's my stance. If you have gold, silver, anything, especially money in the bank, it can, if you go down the extreme levels enough, it can get taken.
Well, that's true.
Nothing on this earth is freehold. Everything is leasehold.
To a degree, there are certain things which can't be taken.
Like, you won't give us one example though, so it's hard to...
There are some things that can't be taken.
Okay, but I think that property is one of the hardest things for anybody to take.
It's hard for people to take, but it's very easy for a government to take. And also then it depends on how you view the world in the upcoming future. It depends how you view the world. So I think personally, my personal view is that this whole garbage based around the common cold was a trial run for whatever's coming next. I think that central bank digital currencies are coming. I think that they're going to introduce a crypto to replace the pound.
Yeah.
I think the CBDC is going to be tracked meticulously on the blockchain. They're going to know where every single pound goes, where it comes from. They're going to put time limits on how long you're going to be allowed to hold it without spending it. They're going to prevent you from buying things they don't want you to buy. They're going to change the way the monetary and financial system works, because this one has to explode.
Yeah.
This system cannot continue. I don't think people understand that we are just printing money and pouring it down a black hole, trying to fill it up. And the second we turn off the printers, it all falls down. It's all over. This is going to be destroyed, and they're going to replace it. And when they replace it, they're going to replace it with something that gives them more control. That's it. That's all they want.
Yeah.
So I think that's coming. And I think that once that comes, you have huge problems. You have huge issues. It may not be our lifetime. It may be our children's or our children's children.
Yeah.
But there is a future coming where if you do or say the wrong thing, your money doesn't work.
Yeah.
Or your electric car won't start.
Right.
Or your electric car can only go in these zones. All this is coming. The control is coming, right? So having a big stationary object that I can't sell without the government involved, to me is scary. I like the idea of a mobile object that I can sell without a government involved.
Another thing about property, you can make I make a lot of money in property without owning it as well.
Yeah.
By controlling it.
Absolutely.
And also being a property entrepreneur.
I can't say you don't make money in real estate. And I'm also not saying I don't own any.
You do own property.
Of course I do. But I'm just saying that I don't feel comfortable. I don't go, bought another house. Yes, let me sleep easy. Some guys do. But I think when you truly understand...
you know what I'm doing right now, flipping land and all that kind of stuff. Like, a few years ago, many people said to me, oh, real estate's risky. I've made millions in real estate.
I bet you have.
It's all I know.
I bet you have.
And through controlling it, flipping it,
Yep.
trading it, owning it.
Completely.
And my properties a lot are in my personal name. I've
Yep.
got a lot in company as well now.
Yep.
I think I'm in a pretty safe position. Now, if it gets so bad that they take away everybody's property and the world has ended and there's this massive plague and everybody's dead, you know what? I lived a pretty good life.
No, completely. And I understand a lot of people will see me as paranoid, and that's fine. But I know you can make a whole bunch of money, but the last thing I'm currently in a situation where I don't need money. So I'm just trying to position myself in a way that I sleep the best as possible.
Yeah.
And I don't feel happy with money in the bank either. I don't.
That's the worst.
Not because of even inflation. Like if I load up my bank balance and it's $87 million, that doesn't make me feel comfortable. It makes me feel the opposite.
Right.
Because the one day you click on the app, sorry, contact customer service. You're like, you fuckers.
Yeah.
You fucking, like, that's it. They'll just do that shit to you. So it's like, I don't like money in my banks. I don't like money in a house. It's hard. I know it's hard.
You're
It's
only
difficult.
insured up to the first £86,000. So if you've got a couple mil and then the bank goes bust, gone.
It's clown world. But I think there's a lot that can be done. Like, I'll give away one of the things I like to do. Just one. So personally, I prefer the idea of digital real estate. Because digital real estate is not controlled by one government jurisdiction, and it can be owned by some obscure entity. So let me give you an example. Let's say I were to buy www.money.com. That's worth money. If I could put anything on there and generate money, so that's worth money. I'd pay a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
And let's say that was owned by a Singaporean trust. Boom.
Yeah.
I feel safer with that than a house.
Okay. No, that's interesting.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because now if anyone wants to find out who owns money.com, even though I've just said it here on this podcast, they're like, look it up, some Singaporean trust. Okay, contact the Singapore authorities. Who owns this trust? We can't tell you. Court injunction. Years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
It's complicated, and I feel like I own it more than a house.
See, it's interesting. And my attitude is you've got to invest in what you know.
Yeah.
If you've made a lot of money, you should invest in what you know.
Oh, completely.
I don't invest in certain stuff if I don't understand it.
Completely.
And even if people tell me this is a great investment, this is a great coin, I'm thinking, I'm all good, thanks.
Yeah.
Because I want to invest in what I understand. And if you understand digital assets, I mean, for me personally, I think owning a website or a link, for me, would feel more risky because I can just see any minute, bang, can't open it. I'd rather own land where even if there's a war and the house gets knocked down, I've still got the land. There's a shortage of land.
I understand.
You know,
I understand.
But
and there's so many ways to skin a cat. And that's what's so beautiful about making money, right? And I completely understand that. My block is ideological. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I know that a lot of money can be made. However, let me give a caveat to that.
Oh, here we go.
I do think that most of the ways money is made on the planet, nearly all of them are Ponzi schemes. I think stocks are a Ponzi scheme. And when I say Ponzi, I mean that if you're in early, you make a bunch of money. And if you're in late, you get wrecked. Money doesn't come from the thin air. Money doesn't come from the sky. So let's look at crypto, right? A lot of people ask me about crypto. Hey, what do you think about this coin? What do you think about this coin? Most people don't understand that the crypto market is player versus player. And it's funny because these new crypto coins launch and they start these Telegram groups, these communities. And all the people who have bought the coin are in this community and they're all like acting like they're friends. You're not friends.
Yeah.
If you bought it at $1 and you want to sell it at a profit of $10, someone has to buy it off you. So it's not, it doesn't just come from the sky. You're selling it for more than you bought it for, right? So a bunch of people get in, money comes in, price goes up and up and up and up and up and up. There's always going to be a guy who bought the top.
Yeah.
And it never goes up anymore.
Yeah.
And he gets screwed. There's X amount of people at the top who get wrecked so the people at the bottom can make money.
Yeah.
It's a Ponzi. Every crypto is a Ponzi, all of them. I could go get $100 million right now, go to England, walk around, and make a bunch of money in real estate. Because I got liquid cash. It ain't that. I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. I've got all the time in the world. It might take me 9 years. That'll go up.
Yeah.
That'll go up. That'll go up. I could do it. But there's also Bob and Sally working their ass off, 22-year mortgage, 10% interest rate. Slugging it. When we own our home, Sally, then we'll be okay.
Don't get me wrong. I think that property is something that can be bad. I think that buying your own home, I think that the Help to Buy scheme is a scam. Because I'm a developer.
Okay.
So I build houses.
Yeah.
And the Help to Buy scheme is not Help to Buy, it's Help to Sell.
Yeah.
Because basically the people that are getting bought into the Help to Buy, the government are loaning them the money, they have to pay it back.
Yep.
It's only applicable to a new build. It's
Yep.
only applicable if you live in it.
Yep.
So it's really to encourage the developers
to
to
buy
build
yeah,
and flog off their stock at an expensive price.
Yep.
And then the people that are buying it, the second that they buy it, it drops in value because it's a new build.
100%.
They've got to live in it. They're in negative equity. They're finished.
Yep.
So the Help to Buy scheme, I guess, is a way of investing in property, or not even investing, but a way of buying property. I don't think you should do that. I think that before you buy your own home to live in, I do own my own home.
Yep.
But I only bought it last year.
Yep.
After making millions.
Yep.
So I think before you buy your own home, if you're ever going to, become a millionaire first.
Oh no, completely. There's so much to say for renting because when you rent, you have flexibility.
Yeah, true.
I think that flexibility, if we're talking about the attention economy, and we're now living in a world where things are changing so rapidly. Think of how different the world was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago, we had Motorola Razrs, couldn't even do a video on our phones. Now we can film
Yeah.
Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how fast the world's changing. If you're gonna say, for 22 years, I'm gonna live at this address, you're a dummy. Because you might get an opportunity in Japan. Who knows, right? Yeah. You're a dummy to do that. So I agree. I own the house I live in. No, sorry, I don't. An entity in a company, blah, blah, owns the house I live in. That was a cash. And that's only because I wanted it the way I wanted it. I want to renovate all this. I want bulletproof glass. Okay, just buy it.
Yeah.
That's why I did it. But in general, yeah, you should renting allows you flexibility.
Yeah.
And flexibility is very important in the modern world.
To get rich.
To get rich, you might need to have to go here, go
Yeah,
there. You might
exactly.
need a month over there. You might want to go do something in Ireland for 2 months. And then also another thing about renting, especially in the Western economy, I know I shouldn't say this, and it's probably going to piss off your guys, but it's true. There's really very little downside to renting because even if you don't pay your rent, they can't make you leave. Like, it's fucking clown world over here. Like, oh, you're renting 3 months, you don't even pay your rent, and you're still fucking sleeping fine.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is like, rent is fantastic. I would only recommend renting unless you get to the point like you, where you have so much money, you just buy it.
That's why our tenants are guests, not tenants.
Good, I like that.
So they don't have the same...
Yeah. Well, I live in Romania, so we have my tenants, because I do have tenants, we have a slightly different system in Romania. You're an hour late, bro. You better pack or pay. But
you know what though? They make it really strict to try and help the tenants. But what actually happens is the landlords become
gets wrecked.
No. The landlords become really strict with the vetting process.
Yeah, of course.
Ask for big deposits.
Yep.
My sister's trying to rent somewhere. She's a single mom, and the letting agent said we don't rent to single moms.
Yep.
Right. So what's happening is it's actually hurting the tenants.
Of course, yeah.
So it's all the things that the government do to try and help the poor often end up hurting the poor.
What did we say earlier about trying to give money out? The government is not capable of helping the poor. And this is why it's so important as a person, you take personal responsibility and understand you're living in a world where the matrix can be cracked. You can make a bunch of money, but you need to take responsibility and do it. I will sit here and say right now on this podcast that I have hundreds of millions of dollars. And if you go to cobratate.com, my website, cobratate.com, you can sign up for a free email. I have an email list, and I'll send an email a day for free that will teach you how to make money. I can say that here, and of the 100,000 people who watch it, 5,000 might sign up. 95,000 will sit there, drooling, and they'll just ignore me,
Yeah.
not sign up. And then 2 minutes later going, bro, it's so hard out here to make money. Just dumbasses. Like, you're not even trying.
Yeah.
You're not trying.
Right.
What we were saying earlier about player versus player is absolutely not really true. If it's player versus player and you're competing against everybody else, because you're competing up against everybody else all the time, and you want to also on top of that be low energy and lethargic and lazy, well then you just don't stand a chance. You're gonna get wrecked. There are people out here who are prepared to work their ass off.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to be that guy, then you're going to fucking lose. But nearly all the ways to make money, I was saying a little bit earlier, are Ponzi schemes to a degree. And that's what's kind of interesting about it. It's unfortunate that certain people in nearly any industry or any money generating avenue are always going to get wrecked. And that's just kind of how it works. And that's the way the whole system, the whole world works. I mean, even me, man, like I made a bunch of money on the Russian ruble. When I saw the way the war was going, I'm $30-40 million I made. I knew the ruble was going to go up. That's an all-time high now. But that takes perspicacity. This is also comes into network. The average person is not sitting around having conversations about the war in Ukraine and the Russian ruble and the financial impact of the war. Me and my team and my network, we're different. Like most people see the news. They watch the news. Okay, yeah, okay. Anyway, me and my team, we're watching the news. Okay, how can that make us money? How can that make me money? How can that make me money?
Right.
And it's a different attitude. I'm having endless conversations about the financial impacts of the war in Ukraine and whether we think that Russia's going to win or lose. And now the Russian ruble is at an all-time high. The Russian economy is stronger than it's ever been. After crashing at the height of the sanctions, when they took away the sovereign wealth fund of Russia, which is fucking criminal anyway, they did that. It dumped down, and now it's higher than it's ever been. On a currency to get a 3x.
Yeah.
It's nearly unheard of. People don't talk about these things. I'd say this another thing. I say to people who ask me, they go, Andrew, how do I get rich? And I say, okay, well, you're probably not gonna get rich because I bet you're lazy, but let's say you're not lazy. The number one habit that people need to adopt, and this is a habit I had for a very long time, and I've actually recently cleared it from my brain because I've reached a point where peace of mind is worth more than money. But every single time money is spent, you need to identify how your money was taken from you. And I say taken because money can't be made. Money is taken. Because the only people who can make money are the governments. If you're a government, you can make money. You can print it from thin air or a bank. But if you're a person, you're not making money. You're convincing other people to give it to you. You're taking money from others. So every single time you spend money on anything, you need to identify how it was taken from you. When you go and buy a coffee, don't just go buy the coffee and sit down. Sit and say, why did I buy this coffee? Okay, I really wanted coffee. Yeah. But then why did I go into this store and not that store? Is it better advertising? Does it have less of a line? Do they have seating? How did they convince me to come in here? How much did this coffee cost? £6. What's the profit margin on that? Probably £5.50, £5.80 probably by the time. The cup probably costs more than the coffee. The coffee is just water. How did they convince me to spend £6 in this place? And when you sit there and analyze, and you all start to learn little lessons about business, you'll learn about the importance of the signage. You'll learn about the importance of there being no queue.
Yeah. So
that if you ever run a business, I'm telling you, I say with my business, my people all the time, faster. All the time, quicker.
Yeah.
I have a couple businesses that are physical. I'm like, I don't want to see a line. I don't want it to see empty because it looks bad. So when there's lines, you work fast. When we're down to 1 or 2 people, you take your time, you talk to the customer.
Right.
You keep it so there's like always one person at the thing. Like manage the line. Like people don't think about this stuff. No one's gonna sit and wait in a long ass queue. Maybe some idiots will, but people like me won't. We got shit to do, right? My time's worth money. I'm not gonna stand and wait in a line. So you have to identify how your money is taken from you. If you start doing that with every single time you spend anything ever, you're gonna start to identify business opportunities, and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna have coffee and you're gonna go, you know what? They could have sold cake and they didn't. Could I outcompete this place? Let's imagine I had the money to start a coffee shop right next door. How would I outcompete them? Well, I'd have cake because they don't have cake. Also, most people in here are businessmen. And the guy serving some dude. No, we need a cute waitress. His ass is fired. We need a chick. Put a chick here, put some cake in. Financial Times, business people in. People don't even think about this stuff. They don't use their brain ever. They don't ever look around and realize how they're spending their money. They don't look around and look at which businesses are successful. They don't look around and pay attention to anything. They don't look at the world and all the things that are happening and how it can benefit them. None of it. They don't look at any of it. They're too busy following the circus. That's why it's clown world. They know all about the football results.
Right,
They know all about Rihanna.
Yeah.
They know all about that crap, all about Love Island. They'll talk about Love Island all day. The same people who will march and fucking for labor saying, oh, the Tories are bad, labor. Watch Love Island at night. Oh, no wonder you're broke. You're a fool. You're a dummy. And no matter what the government does, no matter what a government or a financial system, no matter what they put together, it's always going to be competitive to some degree. Unless it's communism, which has been tried and they're trying to bring back, and we know how that all ends. Communism ends very, very quickly in violence because there's no other way to enforce anything. But no matter what they do or what law they make, there's going to be people who work harder than you and they're going to make more money than you. So if you're going to be a lazy dummy watching Love Island and not paying attention every time you spend money and not try and think and use your brain, guess what? You're going to stay fucking broke.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to say this now. I know for a fact when I talk about how the world works, and people say, but why would the people in charge do that? And I say, because they view you as scum. And the reason they view you as scum is, I can say this, and I'm not saying this in a horrible way. I'm from a council estate, right? I came from absolutely nothing. And I'm now at my position in life, and I know how hard I've worked. When I meet somebody who's whatever, 50 years old, and they have absolutely zero money, I don't think, oh, he's had it hard. I thought, you just didn't, you're just lazy. Your sympathy disappears after a certain amount of time. When you pull it off, you've pulled it off, I've pulled it off. When you've been through X amount of shit to pull it off, and everyone's just coming out with excuses all the time, sympathy vanishes.
Yeah.
It's like, look, I'm sorry, I don't buy your shit.
Right.
You were too busy sniffing, drinking pints, doing all this dumb shit. I wasn't doing it. I don't feel sorry for you people. And that's what happens after a certain amount of time. So if I feel that way, and I'm also from a council estate. Imagine these people who were born as billionaires. Yeah. How do you think they view us? You think they give a shit about wrecking our currency? I don't give a fuck. You better find something to eat on the floor. They don't give a shit. This world is so much crueler than people understand. I've had people all the time come to me saying, yeah, I want to make money. Go take a half an hour and learn about fractional reserve banking. Learn you don't even know how money works.
Yeah.
You don't even know how a bank works. Like, how are you going to make something you don't know what it is?
Right.
Like, it's crazy, man.
One of the first TikTok videos I saw you do was where you were talking about how money's like water. Mm-hmm. And that I thought was a really good analogy because money is always moving.
Yeah.
And that's, again, coming back to property, because you know how much I love real estate.
Of course.
Is if you look on the Sunday Times rich list, 90% of them either made their money through real estate or made it through business or other ways and are now investing in real estate.
Of course.
If you can get around people that are in the property market, even if you've got no money, being in that environment, even if it's a case of finding deals, passing them on to the investors, it's where the money is.
Oh no, that's completely and utterly true. And yes, the cycle of precipitation, right? So a cloud comes, it rains, it falls down to the ground, it goes under the ground, whatever, goes into a stream, it moves into the stream, goes to the ocean, evaporates again, up into a cloud, floats somewhere else, falls down again. It's always moving. That's how money is. People think that money is in these large, stagnant pools hidden in people's bank accounts. That's not really true. Money is constantly moving all the time. And if you can find a way to get in between it and stand in the right place at the right time, you're going to get wet. That's absolutely not really true.
That's an awesome analogy.
But it's true.
I'm going to steal it, by the way.
You can. It's no problem. It's true. And a lot of people have done that, right? I mean, even the little example I was talking about earlier. If anybody with a brain didn't invest in pharmaceutical companies at the beginning of COVID, I mean, if you didn't buy stock in Abbott at the beginning of COVID, don't know why. If you didn't invest in the arms companies at the beginning of this forever war, I don't know why. Like, it's easy. Where's the money going? To Ukraine to buy guns. So what am I going to do? I'm going to buy stock in Raytheon. Like, it's not complicated stuff. It goes into also, we'll talk about network and how important that is. But it's interesting you say about being in the room where people are making, are talking about property deals. I say the same thing. I say this to people. I say, if you're in a room full of ice cream experts, and all they talk about is ice cream, how to make ice cream, their favorite flavor, the best way to store it, how much it costs to produce, how to transport it, and that's all they talk about is ice cream. Even if you have no interest in ice cream, over a long enough period of time, you're gonna end up knowing stuff about ice cream. You're gonna end up knowing shit. You're gonna be like, that's double chocolate this, it costs this much, and this is how they moved it. You're gonna know things about ice cream. If you're in a room full of people who only talk about money, then you're gonna end up knowing about money. It's exactly the same thing. And network is net worth, everyone understands this. And people also understand that they're likely to become the sum of the 5 people they spend the most time with.
Yeah.
But then they hang around with losers. It just blows my mind. It's like, I'm a busy man. Like, I don't have time. All these opportunities I've given a little away. I've told a little bit about domain names, a little bit about the Russian ruble, a little bit about stocks, etc. I'm very busy myself. But my network, I have hundreds of people who I talk to all doing this shit. Hey, Tate, have you seen this? Boom. And I'll throw him something, he'll throw me something. That's my ecosystem. That's who I talk to. Those are my friends. We don't talk about Rihanna. We don't talk about the football. We don't talk about Love Island. We don't talk about anything other than money.
Yeah.
How are we not going to make hundreds of millions of dollars? How am I not going to have money? Like, that's all we talk about. That's all we do. So I say this to people and I say, when's the last time, we talked about the coffee shop example. I say this to people all the time. When's the last time you sat and talked about money? What do you mean? When's the last time you sat down with someone and talked about money? Well, what do you mean talk about money? Well, if you don't know what to talk about, then you don't understand money. So go learn how money works. Go learn how a bank works. Go sit on YouTube for free. You don't just pay 50 grand in 4 years like a university. Go sit on YouTube and understand money, banking, or the real estate market, any of it. Understand the last housing price crash, why it happened. Understand mortgage rates and how that's affected by interest rates. Understand it, and then go sit with someone else who understands it and talk about it. Oh, yeah, I should do that. Yeah. Back to TV. Yeah. Dumbasses. So like I don't want to be a negative person because I'm not. But to a degree, I think the universe is very giving. And I've yet to experience in my 36 years a man or a woman who genuinely tries their very best and genuinely dedicates themselves to something and is genuinely motivated to make sure they're the best version of themselves, who doesn't get what they want.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I've never seen someone go, I spend all of my time doing what I'm supposed to do. I do not waste any of my time. I dedicate myself. I'm good to people. I'm honest. I'm hardworking. I'm there on time. Every time I've got a meeting, I've got a firm handshake. I don't snake anybody. God likes me. I work hard. I'm not an evil person, and I work really, really hard. Who doesn't have everything they want? Yeah. So everyone can have anything they want. I really believe the universe will give anyone anything they want if they actually fucking want it.
The problem is, I think, when people complain. So if someone's complaining that they're broke and being negative, oh, it's really hard, but then they're not doing the very basic things. It'd be like me complaining that I'm overweight.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was to bitch about it, oh, I'm overweight, it's really hard. I heard you say actually on a Rumble video, you said that if you woke up fat, within a couple of months you'd be slim.
Absolutely.
Of course you would be. And in the same way, if I woke up broke, a couple of months I'd be rich.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it's all about, exactly.
You get what you want.
Completely.
And what you push towards.
Completely. And that's what I truly believe that the universe is giving in that way. But it is player versus player, and that's just the way it works. But that's why also network is so important. So a lot of people who don't have, when you were saying earlier about being around the property deals, just even being around people with money, it's just a good place to be. I'll give you an example. I was in Romania, and I have the largest car collection probably in Romania. I have 28 supercars, everything you can name. And I went to a town called Cluj-Napoca. It's on the border of Hungary. And I drove there in my Chiron, and I parked up, and a kid came up, and he said, hey, can I take some photos of your car? I have a car spotting page. I was like, yeah, whatever, cool. And he goes, yeah, okay, I'll just be a few minutes to this. So he took a bunch of photos, and he come up to me and goes, hey, do you want the photos? And I was like, not really, I already have photos. And he goes, oh yeah, okay. Well, if you want them, here's my email address. And I said to him, why do you do this? Like, you spend all day standing around taking photos of other people's cars. Is that not a waste of time? I thought it was a waste of time, but I was wrong. He goes, oh, well, I skipped school and I skipped college because I knew if I take pictures of expensive cars and email them to people, I'll have email addresses of the richest people in Romania.
Yeah, smart.
I was like, you're clever. I ended up hiring him. He works for me now.
Yeah.
I was like, I like you. He got himself a full-time job that day. So he understood, be near the money. I have no money. Yeah. Money's over there. Well, let me get closer to it. Like, no point staying over here on my fucking own. Let me at least get closer to it. That was a 17-year-old kid. Now he's making 10 grand a month in Romania from me. So like, at least being closer to it. So you're right. People should, even if they haven't got a penny in the world, should be going to these meetings about real estate, about investing, that especially if it's cheap, they should go. Just meet other people who at least have money. Have conversations about money. Talk about it. How are you going to get what you don't talk about? It's like, you used the gym analogy. It's a perfect analogy. I've never met anybody who is in fantastic shape, and you say, how'd you get in fantastic shape? And he goes, oops. Don't know, bro. Just, oops. No, absolutely not. I went to the gym every day. I ate this particular way. I had a meal plan. I dieted. Nothing is going to happen on accident.
Yeah.
This mindset of when my ship comes in, one day it's just going to, well, you're going to win the lottery? Maybe. And that's another thing that's actually funny, talking about winning the lottery. I used to dream of winning the lottery, bro. How much is a lottery win nowadays?
It depends on the win. Could be anything.
6, 7? No, not your own.
I don't know anything about the lottery because I think it sucks.
But man, like I used to dream of winning the lottery, thinking that my life would change, and now like 6-7 million, that's a year of jets. That's nothing. Like it's not even money anymore. It's crazy how the perception changes.
But even if you win the lottery, 90% of lottery winners within 10 years are in the exact same situation.
Completely, because they think it's a lot of money. It's not even a lot of money. A couple of 6-7 million pounds is zero in the real world. It's zero. But yeah, like it's interesting. But yeah, you have to be near it, and your network needs to be important. And this is the reason why, and I will do a shameless plug here. Like you have your speaking events, I think absolutely everybody should go. Even if they have no intention of buying a house, they should be at that fucking speaking event, and they should be listening to you and understanding how the real estate market works, and they should be polite to people and courteous and nice, and they might make a friend. And they should sit and talk to their friend about real estate. That cannot detriment your life. That cannot detriment your life. You'll sit and meet with your friends on the pub and talk crap, but you won't sit and talk about money. You're not going to get it on accident. Your ship's not going to come in on accident. You have to plan for this. That's why the only two things I sell online, and trust me, I've been offered endless things. I state this as a matter of fact, not a matter of arrogance. I was the most Googled man on the planet. I was the most famous individual on the planet. More than Donald Trump, more than Brad Pitt, more than Joe Biden, more than Putin at the start of the war. I was that Googled when my TikTok thing blew up. And I was offered $30, $40 million to promote crypto, $10 million to promote some fucking pill, supposed to be some supplement that makes you strong, scam. I was offered endless money to sell my soul. And I didn't do it because I didn't like the idea of a kid who really believed in me and who was a fan of mine buying a crypto because I said it's going to go up. And like I said, player versus player, someone's going to lose, and that kid losing all his money because, you know, I'm in first and I own most of coin or whatever. I didn't want to be a scammer for money because I believe that having a pure heart and living true under God is more important. So I never sold my soul. I'm not like Logan Paul and these fuckers who sell an energy drink full of sugar and crypto pump and dump scams and NFT scams and all these other influencers sell scams or they sell gambling to kids on their Twitch screens. None of that. I don't do anything. Only two things I sell are my university, which I have priced so cheap, $60 a month, so cheap that anybody can join. There's no one who's too poor for that.
Yeah.
And there's no contract. It's month-on-month enrollment. You can join. If you don't like it, you can leave. Everybody who joins makes more money than they invest. Look, even if you spend $60 to join and you make $300 the first month, it's still a win.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're not going to be a millionaire overnight, but it's still a win. It's my university for that. And the only other thing I have is my network, which is the War Room. And we have about 4,400 men all around the world. And those are people, that's a place where you can go and talk exactly about the things we're talking about, money. Mm-hmm. Oh, the war in Ukraine's happening. How does this affect me in a way that actually is going to benefit me? Not what the news is saying. The news is talking shit about how we have to save Ukraine and fucking money laundering all this money through fucking arms companies. They're lying to you. What's the actual truth and how can this actually benefit me? So I have the War Room, my personal network. Those are the only two things I sell to the world. I sell how to make money in a university and I sell a network. Because if you have those two things, you can have anything you want.
Yeah, and it's interesting as well because anybody that says, I won't pay that £60 because it might not work,
it's crazy.
No, but what will happen is when they go into business, they'll think the same. And anyone in business has to look at the best case and the worst case and the likely case. Yeah. And if anyone says, well, the worst case is I'll lose £60.
Yeah.
The best case is I'll be financially independent, travel the world.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not going to take that risk. Yeah. They'll never win in business.
The unfortunate reality about the world is the law of averages ensure that half the people you meet are even more stupid than average. That's just the way it works. Yeah, you're right. What kind of stupid equation? Like I said, I've sat here on a podcast and said, me as a multimillionaire, even if you don't give me £60, I have a free email list. I'll give you tips for free. CobraTate.com, sign up. It will take 3 seconds and you'll get tips on money every single day for the rest of your life for free. A bunch of people still won't go. They still won't do it. And then you're right. What kind of idiot sits there and goes, this guy has hundreds of millions of dollars. He doesn't need why would he scam me at £60? Surely, and all these other people are enrolled and they're paying every month. So obviously they're getting value. Obviously they're making money from this. Yeah, but maybe I'll lose the £60 and can't afford a Nando's. Not worth it. These people just deserve to fail. And that's why I get to the point where I'm semi-jaded. I don't feel sorry for these people. They deserve to fail. If you want to make money, I'll tell you how. Yeah. You go to CobraTate.com, sign up for the email list, and go join Hustlers University. And if you want a strong network, join the War Room. There's all your answers. I fixed all your lives. But if you're going to sit there and just sit on your ass and not do anything, then don't come up to me in the street and ask me why you're so brokey. Because there's the answer to it. But yeah, it's interesting, man. The world's kind of a crazy place. And I mean, the last 3 years have proved it, etc. But The Matrix, you have to watch the movie The Matrix.
I will watch it.
You have to watch it. But Morpheus says it. Most people's minds are not ready to be freed. Most people's are so dependent on the system that they'll fight to defend it. Their minds are not ready to be freed. I also think another thing that's kind of interesting is the world is changing so fast in real time. I think a lot of the advice based around making money is severely outdated.
Yeah.
And that's why my university, we don't have a real estate section.
You used to, though, I'm sure.
We had something.
I've seen...
we had like an Airbnb kind of thing.
Right.
But we don't do real estate so much anymore. We teach 18 modern wealth creation methods. So the new stuff, right? Because a lot of the things people are told about how to make money was accurate, but it's no longer accurate.
Yeah.
Like your parents will say, hey, you need to save up and buy a home. Well, okay, when you were saving up and buying a home, it was 50 grand for a house.
Yeah.
You were earning 20 grand a year. You were getting 5% on your savings, and you bought a house, and now that house for 50 grand is worth $500,000. I'm sure it worked out great for you. It's a bit different for me. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So all the advice they're giving you is shit.
That's the case of any business, though. It gets outdated.
It gets outdated.
You need to be.
And you have the modern ways, which is fantastic, but I'm saying a lot of people will sit there and listen to their parents. Yeah. And I was like, your parents don't know anything.
Yeah.
Your parents did something that worked once and it doesn't work anymore. And what works now won't work in 20 years.
Yeah.
That's why you have to be perspicacious. You have to be adaptable. You have to be indefatigable. You have to pay attention to these things. And this is why network is so important. This is why you have to be talking to people who are constantly on the cutting edge. I'll say this now. If you're sitting here at home watching this, you're on the internet and you're saying, I want to make money on the internet. Know that me, a man with hundreds of millions of dollars, and my network of 4,000 people all around the world, from Singapore to America, et cetera, with combined assets of billions, are talking for 12 hours a day about how to generate money on the very cusp of culture, on the very cusp of updating geopolitics. This is who you're competing against. It's player versus player. You're sitting there like a jackass, scrolling around a little bit and going, oh, I hope I'll be rich one day. And there's people like me and my network out here, and this is who you're competing against. You're gonna get fucking wrecked. You're gonna get crushed. Either join the winning team or stay broke.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other way. Like, you find somebody who knows what they're doing, as you do. You've proved it. You have all the credentials to prove you know what you're doing. I know what I'm doing. And join their team or stay broke. You're going to get fucking crushed. It's player versus player. You're not going to do it on your own. The whole idea of like this lone wolf shit is also garbage. You need network. You need people. You need teams. You know this better than anybody.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, if you're playing chess, I know you love chess. Your dad was a champion chess player. And you don't really know how to play, and you're against a champion chess player, every time you're going to get spanked.
And that's the interesting thing about chess. That's what's so great, because the rules of the game are the same for both players. The constraints are the same, but the grandmaster will destroy you within the same constraints. He can't do any moves you can't do, but he will wreck you because he knows the game better.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Business is
He
the same.
knows the rules better. That's it. It's business is the
Sales,
same.
marketing,
It's all the same.
finance, operations.
He knows it the same. And man, most people have no idea how to make money. So I had a guy come to me, and he was a guy, and he started dating some semi-famous girl with a big Instagram account. And she was really pretty. She was out of Serbia. And he comes to me and says, bro, she's big in Serbia. I want to launch a makeup brand. I said, okay, fair enough. He goes, yeah, I want to launch a makeup brand, but I need money. I was like, how much you need? He goes, I need $250,000. And I said, listen, here's what we're going to do. What's your plan? You get $250,000 and do what? He goes, well, I'm going to build the website. How much is that going to cost? He goes, I can probably get that done cheap in Serbia, like $2,000. I said, okay, that's a good start. He goes, then I'm going to buy all the stock. I was like, okay. And I'm going to base it in Serbia in a warehouse so I can sell it out fast, same day delivery. I was like, okay, fine. Let's do something else instead. Instead of wasting all my money, how about this? Here's my advice to you, because otherwise I'm going to want a big percentage of the business. That's the first thing. Second thing, there's a big chance my money gets wasted. So here's what we do. I'll give you $2,000, make the website, take the pictures, get the product designs, put it online, launch it, put it all over her Instagram, launch it, start selling. After a few days, send everybody an automated email saying, sorry, we have a delay in shipping because it's a new brand and it's been so fantastic. We're going to give you a free lip gloss. Delay everybody and keep them happy. Take in all the money, buy the stock with the money that comes in, with the new money. So you're never in debt to anybody. You're not in debt to me either. Buy the stock, fulfill. The margin on makeup is 80, 90, 100, 200, 3% anyway. Give them a free gift so they shut up, or offer them a discount code for their next order. They'll be happy and buy more.
Yeah.
Start your company from nothing.
Right.
And be rich.
See, that's the opposite of what university teaches.
Complete opposite.
Complete opposite.
What was funny is, he goes, okay, I'm going to try that. He tried it, and he launched, and nobody bought. And I said, aren't you glad? Well, I'm glad thank God I'm glad, but imagine it was your own money. Aren't you glad you didn't waste $250,000?
Right.
Your dumbass nearly lost $250,000.
Yeah.
Now you realize that all her followers are fake. So, eureka. At least you found out cheap.
Yeah. See, I can't remember the term for that. They do teach that at Harvard University, which cost £500,000, by the way.
Wow.
To go to
I
Harvard.
literally did not know that. So there you go.
And here you are spitting facts.
There you go, everybody. But this is another thing that's interesting. I think there are so many businesses, especially in the modern digital world, which can be started effectively for free.
Yeah.
It's different if you have to get a shop premises. That's different. Fine. Understood.
But you start with an online shop, right?
But there's so much stuff that can be done almost for free. People think they need money I need money. If I had money, I'd start a business. Tell me your business plan and let's find a way to do it for pennies. There must be a way. If people want it, you can sell it. You can do that part first.
Yeah.
Now you can do that with nearly anything. But
here's a question for you then. So we've talked a little bit about how to invest money, and you've given a bit away, which is great. Slightly different views, but that's okay. Talk to me about not making money because you don't believe in making money.
No.
You believe in taking money.
Yeah.
You're starting again from scratch. You're dumped in a random city. By the way, I don't know if you've seen, I do this regularly.
I saw on YouTube,
Yeah, of course you did, right? What do? Starting from scratch, you're in London, you got nothing, you got no contacts, you're not in your war room, and you need to make £10,000. And if me and you had a challenge, let me ask you a question. If we had to make £10,000 from scratch drops in London, we're in disguise, because you're pretty famous.
Yeah, I'm pretty famous.
Who's going to make the 10 grand first?
That's a good question.
I'm saying me.
Yeah, well, you've done it a few times. I've never done it before. However, you'd have to start with selling something.
Yeah.
You'd have to start with becoming the middleman of something, and you have to start by taking a commission. That's the first thing you could do. The London dropped in the middle of zero and doing it physically, I'm not sure. I think no matter where I was dropped, I would turn to the internet, no matter what.
Okay.
I think that because the internet's just a global marketplace, it's just so much better. I'd find somebody with, so let's say I had nothing, right? I'd find somebody with star power, like you, for example. And I'd come along, I'd drop you an email and say, listen, I want to put something together. I believe I can help you sell more. I am hoping if I show you I can sell more, you'll give me X amount of commission, X amount percent. I understand you have star power. You have something I don't have. You can talk in front of a camera. You can attract people. You can entertain people. What are you currently selling? You're selling this. Okay, if I bring X amount of 1,000 people, will I be able to get this percent? That's what I would do. I think that if I didn't have the ability to sit on a camera and entertain, I would find somebody who does, and I would be the blood and guts beneath the show business.
Interesting.
And that's the easiest way to get rich in the world today.
So you'd find someone that's got an existing product or service.
Correct.
And then you would help them sell it and promote it.
Absolutely and utterly. That's the easiest way to get rich today, especially because commission only, nobody's afraid of saying yes to. Nobody's afraid of saying yes to. So let me see if I have my business card with me. If I don't have it, I'm going to be a bit upset. But let me give you an example of my business card because it shows it perfectly. So I do. Here we go. So here's my business card. We'll have to show the camera. Keep this, bros, for you. But my business card, Tate Enterprises Unlimited, kickboxing world champion, master and commander of the war room.
Yeah.
Also says on the back, my unmatched perspicacity coupled with sheer indefatigability makes me a feared opponent in any realm if you met them, which is my saying. It's a saying from my father. But it's basically saying unmatched perspicacity, so the ability to always pay attention. Perspicacity is perception. So unmatched. I'm always paying attention to everything all the time. And sheer indefatigability, I don't become tired. Makes me a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor. So a man who always pays attention and never gives up is a feared opponent, no matter what you're fighting against him. And then it says, I specialize in the following: wars fought, assassinations plotted, revolutions started, uprisings quelled, smuggling, passport allocation, ventriloquist, decentralized finance, blockchain analysis, whiskey merchant, tiger taming. It goes on and on and on. The point I'm making is,
Rainmaker.
if you come to me with $1 billion and say put a rocket on Mars, I'll try.
Yeah.
Pay me. Okay. Maybe I'll call Elon and give him $900 million to do it. Maybe I'm just a middleman. But I'm the guy you can come to for anything. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
No matter what you want done, I'll get it done. I know a guy who knows a guy. And I think that kind of shows my point overall. If I had to start again, I'd do the same thing. I'd meet people who are extremely competent and extremely good at what they do. You'll often find in life there are people who are best at what they do aren't good at the marketing and sales side of things. There are so many fantastic singers or fucking painters or whatever. They're amazing and they don't make any money. They're crap at the marketing, the sales, the whole famous of it. Yeah. I'd do that. It doesn't matter if I find a singer and say, look, I'm going to get you bookings. I want this percent, but I'm going to get you the best bookings. Bang. I'm going to put together a promo video. I'm going to use my camera guy. Boom. We're going to make this excellent. And we're going to get some personality involved. And you're going to go up to some random girl on the street and you're going to sing. This is all off the top of my head. You're going to go up to some random girl on the street and you're going to busk and you're going to sing to her. And we're going to do it over and over again, even though a bunch of them will call you weirdos, to get one who looks like she falls in love right there on the spot. And that's going to go viral on TikTok. And we're going to put that on your Instagram account. And your Instagram account's going to start getting followers. And when you start getting DMs in the Instagram account, I'm going to reply to them. And I'm going to book all the bookings. I'm going to get X amount percent. But it's all bullshit. Boom. Okay, now I got a singer out there working. I got a photographer out there working. I got a painter. She's out there painting shit. Bang, 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 bang. It's just a game. That's how you get rich.
I think you do well. Would you be down for it? A challenge? Who can make the first 10 grand from scratch?
Gee, I can't walk the streets anymore. G.
Yeah, mate, we can get a mask.
Bro, I can't
design a mask.
When I walk the streets, I have to have full security teams or the strap.
If I can find a way to completely disguise you.
Bro, I don't know. I'm top G. They know me, bro.
Your accent would give it away.
London's a bit of a weird one for me because London's not safe anymore, one. And two, like when I'm in Romania, I'm armed and I have a full security detail and blah, blah, blah. And when I'm in London, it's unusual because people recognize me and they want to, some of them want to be friendly, but when I see full-grown people like running up to me or coming up to me, I've had a hard life, right? I don't like when 3 full-grown men go, hey, Tate. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. I just don't like it. So I have to have a security team.
Do you have people, do you get pretty mobbed in the streets?
Oh, bro, it's crazy. I don't know if you've seen, there's a couple, some videos. Yeah, like if I walk into a hotel and someone sees it and puts it on Instagram or Snapchat and they work out, it's me, there's just thousands of people outside.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's really nuts. And that's because, like I said, I've inspired the masculine youth a lot. So a lot of 19-year-olds have nothing else to do but try and get a picture with me. And that's another thing, because you look bad when you say no. Sometimes I say no to guys and they're like, why? It's like, because if I do 500 photos a day, like 500 times 3 minutes, it's like, it's my life. It goes on all the time. And it's easier with security, because security can just say, leave them alone. Because I'm trying to live normal life, right? But it's not too bad in Romania. But in London also, it's not necessarily a safe place. I'm obviously an extremely rich person, and I don't like when people run at me and come up to me and try and surprise me and shit. I just want to be left.
All right, my question for you then. When are you gonna, because you need to, do an event, bro? Start doing an event. You can get your security. It can be all controlled. In London, Dubai, even Romania.
Yeah, so
when are you gonna do events?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Is it fun?
It's very fun.
Yeah, I've never done a speaking event, but I actually have my first one booked. I'm doing my first speaking event in Dubai. I've chosen Dubai for security reasons and a bunch of other reasons. I believe Dubai is the city of the future. I'm heavily invested in Dubai. I love Dubai. I have a lot of money in Dubai. So yeah, I'm doing a speaking event
That's
in
awesome.
Dubai. Yeah, I'm going to do a speaking event in Dubai. It'll be my first ever one, and we'll see how that goes.
I think you'll do really well at that.
I'm okay at talking, so we'll see. That'll be fun. It'll be good to like meet people and do the event and in a controlled manner and talk to everybody. And that's not just on money, that's basically on life philosophy. That's going to be a life philosophy event on my tenets for life as a whole. So it's going to be quite interesting to do. And also, yeah, the Matrix try and cancel me and I keep getting bigger and bigger, right? So I got to fill a stadium.
All over social media, not just Rumble. You're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, after being cancelled.
Yeah.
Interestingly, when you first got cancelled, I watched your video, which I actually thought was a bit weak.
You think?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well,
it was very tame. It looked like.
Yeah, it was very tame.
I liked the one that you did on Rumble after that one. That was a little bit better.
Yeah. No, I came across tame because a lot of people are confused about me, not because of what I say, but because of the way I say things.
Yeah.
So I came across tame on purpose to try and alleviate.
You didn't want to be misunderstood.
Yeah, and it's fine, but all in all, I knew that what happened would be good for me. I knew that this was going to be a good thing. By chopping off my tongue, they don't prove me wrong.
Yeah.
They prove me right. And I think we're coming into a new age of consciousness and a new age of truth where a lot more people are starting to realize, still not enough, but more are starting to realize how they're getting screwed and how they're being lied to. And that's good for people like me. I'm heavily leveraged against chaos. You say, how do I invest? Well, the more chaotic and more dangerous and more messed up the world gets, the more people come to people like me for clarity and guidance and solutions. So that's my ultimate leverage.
You said that you wanted to lead the way for people that might later be cancelled. How do you feel that you're doing that?
Because the pressure is already behind the dam. The dam are the social media companies, YouTube, Instagram, etc. They have these monopolies. The pressure is behind the dam. Everybody knows they're unfair and tyrannical. Nobody's happy with them. The problem is if you're canceled, there's nowhere else to go. I am proving that that's not the case. That when you're canceled, you can move to alternative platforms, and if you have a true following, they will follow you. I'm proving. And that's going to put a crack in the dam. Because now people are going to say, well, if I get canceled, I'll just go there. And I think if I crack the dam, the pressure will do the rest, and then things are going to change. I didn't want war with these social media companies. I didn't want to have a genuine problem with them, but they decided that I'm unsafe for some reason. Perhaps I'm optimistic in this particular circumstance, but I believe that the social media companies will eventually understand that they made a mistake, and as public sentiment shifts, they're going to offer me reinstatement. It doesn't matter to me either way, but I do think that is coming. But all in all, yeah, it never really concerned me. It was semi-inconvenient.
Yeah, sure.
For a while.
And they closed your bank and stuff.
Yeah, they closed bank accounts,
Crazy.
payment processing. That's what I mean. Own the money, right?
Yeah.
Your bank account.
But they didn't take your properties off you.
Well, they can't.
Yes, exactly.
But that's because of how I've set things up.
Right. So you need to be smart in how you do it.
Yeah.
Do it through a company.
Well, that's right. But I also think that Joe Schmo, who's just starting off buying his house, doesn't do it smart.
Absolutely. You know what though? In the UK, they've devastated landlords. The taxes, everything, they're killing landlords.
Yeah.
But the rich corporations that are investing in property, the way they're doing it, it's very profitable.
Completely.
So the small guy needs to learn how the big guy's doing it and duplicate it.
Yeah, and it's always been the same. What did I say earlier about the tax? They don't come after rich, they go after people somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
And they just wreck them. But yeah, like, I think just especially in England, just the idea you hear people say, once we pay the mortgage off, we'll be, it's just this fantasy, and I just don't think it's...
You know what I see when I watch your videos, and they're very funny. I send them to my wife, and she sends them back. You know, they're very funny. And I know that sometimes you deliberately piss people off.
Yeah.
You've said that. But the big message that I see is personal responsibility.
Oh, completely.
Take control of your mental health, take control of your physical abilities, your weight, your finances.
Yep.
I think that's what you're about.
It is what I'm about, because nobody else is going to wake up and care more about your life than you. Mm-hmm. If you won't wake up every day and say, I need to get rich, nobody else is going to wake up and say, I need to make him rich.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to do it for you. So if you don't think it, nobody else is going to think it, which means nobody thinks it. So it's down to you, right? You're the only person on the planet who can think it. And I always knew, I never doubted for a second I would be what I am. I knew I would be rich. I just knew I would be rich and be free and be able to do and say what I wanted. Mm-hmm. I just knew that. I was just like, there's no way that guy in the Ferrari who drove past me is a better person than me. There's no way he's smarter than me. And I was not arrogant, because arrogance prevents you from working. Arrogance goes, I'll make it. Arrogance is the people who go, my ship will come in later. Arrogance is the people who watch Love Island and go, I'll be rich later. That's arrogance. Yeah. Most people are very arrogant. I was never arrogant. I understood, okay, I'll just outwork him. Maybe he's smarter than me. Fine, I'll outwork him. I'll just outwork him. No problem. Boom, let's get to work. I think that a lot of people, the main reason people aren't rich, there's probably 3 primary reasons. They're either lazy, they're arrogant, or they're stupid. I think lazy is actually quite a small contingent, because I think a lot of people get out here and they work very hard to a degree. Like, even if you're a trash man, that's still work. You're working hard, you're just not making any money. And also, I think if you could show somebody how to make money, a lot of people would do it. I don't think they're that lazy. If you say, look, press this button for money, they're not gonna go, no, I can't be bothered. They're gonna go, all right, okay. They're just lazy to find out how, perhaps. Yeah. But once they know how, they'll do it. Stupid, I think, is also a very small percentage. I think that stupid is a small percentage, because I don't think that IQ, in fact, it's been proven, IQ has nothing to do with how successful you are.
Right.
Very rich people, very smart people are broke. Yeah. Very dumb people are rich. Yeah. So I don't think that stupid is the reason people aren't rich. The reason 98% of people aren't rich is because they're arrogant. They're brutally arrogant. And I say that because you will stand up and say, I'm going to do an event and I'm going to teach you how to make money from real estate. And people will look at you with all your success and go, what does he know? Fuck him. Not worth my time. You're the millionaire. They ain't. I'll sit here and say, I'll give you free tips on how to make money online. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Go to corporate.com. You can sign up. Get it free. Email newsletter. Yeah, I saw him on TikTok. He's full of shit. How arrogant, genuinely arrogant in your soul must you be as an individual to look at people who are massively successful with all the credentials and all the proof for all the things they talk about and believe for some reason you're too good to listen to them.
Yeah.
That's just arrogance. If Mike Tyson walked in here and said he's going to teach me how to punch, even though I'm already a kickboxing world champion, I'd listen. It's Mike Tyson. If Beethoven walked in, if he resurrected and walked in and said, teach me piano, I'd listen. Yeah. But if I sit there and say, look, this is how you make money, there's a large contingent of people out here who go, yeah, but you know what, Tate, I don't like him. I didn't ask you to like me. I'm telling you how to make money. Yeah. Like, they're just arrogant. People are brutally arrogant, and it holds them back. They refuse to fucking learn or listen to anything. And they're dummies. A bunch of fucking dummies. And arrogance is the reason 98% of people don't have any money. That's why. They're just fucking arrogant and stupid.
Yeah, very interesting. Is there anything that you regret from, the last sort of 6-12 months?
No. I don't operate in that frame anyway. I don't believe in regret. It's not a frame I operate in. Secondly, I know I'm that guy that no matter what happens to me, I'll make it into a positive.
Yeah.
You talk about being dumped in the middle of London in your underwear and pulling it off. I'm the same. You can dump me in the desert by myself, expecting me to dehydrate, and you'll end up seeing me on the high street in a Lambo next month and be like, how the fuck did he? Yeah. I'm that guy. I'm just that guy.
Yeah.
So when they tried to attack me with everything, I kind of felt excited. I was like,
interesting.
The game's getting fun again.
Yeah.
So
most rich people though, if they're self-made and they started from nothing, if you took everything away, they're gonna make it back.
Oh, completely.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah, completely. So I don't regret absolutely anything. I know that what I say is true. Mm-hmm. I truly believe everything I say. I know that I can help people if they're prepared to learn and listen. I know my network's fantastic. I know my university's fantastic. I don't sell scams. I don't lie to anybody. I live with a pure heart. I'm one of God's favorites. God loves me. Because I show strength and courage. I think the devil is looking for weak men. It's the weak men in the world that he uses to do his evil doings. And harnessing strength in all of its forms is service to God, including financial strength. So I don't regret absolutely anything. I don't operate in that frame. I think that it's still a lot of people think that this is the end of me, and they don't understand this is absolutely and utterly just the beginning. My only concern now is becoming too big. That's my concern. I'm worried about becoming too influential, too big. So I have to try and work on that.
A lot of stuff the media said about you just isn't true. Most people don't have brains. They read the headlines. Yeah. They read things out of context. Yep. And it's happened to me in the past. Yep. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this interview with you, was because I know what it's like to be completely misunderstood and for the media to go after you. It's interesting that all the social media channels and all the media seem to say the exact same thing.
Yeah, they ban you so they can lie about you.
So you can't respond?
So you can't respond. So they ban you so they can lie about you. What did I say at the beginning? I said, by removing the other side of the argument, they create a false reality. They create the matrix. By banning me and not allowing me to give context or tell the truth on anything, they get to lie about me and create a complete false reality. They get to pretend I'm something I'm not, or I've done things I haven't done, and convince the NPCs of the world that's the case. I do find solace in the fact that the people who are stupid enough to believe everything they read in the media without doing any kind of investigation are also going to be punished by God himself through having a terrible life of austerity. Those kind of people who just believe everything they read in the news are the people who suffer the most in this world, because they're not the people who are smart enough to break outside of the matrix. They're firmly inside of it. They are the slaves. Mm-hmm. So I kind of feel good when someone goes, I read this and I believe it all. I'm like, oh, so if you believe all that, then you also believe all of this, so your life's shit. So cool. Mm-hmm. All right, bro, you keep believing it. I'm off. I gotta go I'm off to the yacht. So God already punishes them, which is fine. But yeah, it's kind of scary to a degree. I guess you could look at it from that way and understand it's kind of scary that there's people in the world who have that much power, who can just silence you and then lie about you. And I'd also like to state that I do think that 99% of people in the world in my position would have some kind of detrimental mental health effect from it.
Yeah, for sure.
I am fortunate that I am iron-minded. I'm also fortunate that I'm extremely capable. My network is capable. I'm physically capable. I've had a very hard life, etc. But most people are not prepared to be lied about in the media without a voice, to be threatened, to have thousands of emails of death threats, to have their family thousands of emails of death threats, to have investigative journalists kind of work out where their parents live, to have journalists call up all their ex-girlfriends saying, if you have a negative story about Andrew Tate, we'll pay 50 grand. That's effectively a bribe. That's effectively saying, we'll give you 50 G's, no evidence, just make up a story and give us your picture. And that's, I mean, none of them did because I'm a nice guy, but you ask the average man watching this, if they were to call every single one of your exes and offer him 50 G's, you tell me not a single one would say, all right, fuck him, he's a dickhead anyway. Like, it's scary, right, to a degree. I'm lucky I'm me. But if I was the average dude, I'd be suffering from this crap. But the people who are in charge don't care. They don't give a shit. And they don't give a shit, one, because it's personal, but two, also in general, the world doesn't give a shit about men's mental health, which is another thing that we need to talk about, because they pretend they do. They put headlines and pretend they do, and they say, we have to talk about men's mental health, et cetera, et cetera. But when I come along as a bastion of strength and inspiration for the youth of the world and tell men, listen, being a normal man or an average Joe is always gonna suck. The only way to have a good life as a man is to be exceptional in some fields. Here is how you do it.
Yeah.
You need to work your ass off. They delete me. They want men to stay depressed, semi-depressed, miserable, paying the taxes, just rich enough to pay tax, too broke to do anything else.
Yeah.
And that's what they want. That's where they want you. So they don't care about men's mental health either. They don't care how many men kill themselves. They don't give a shit.
Have you had many people message you directly saying, I'm really offended? Or do you think it's more just the media trying to make out that people are?
It's a very vocal minority. So at the height of the absolute clown world, at the height of the circus, there was literally like 3 or 4 weirdos who were emailing me on repeat death threats and stuff. But I had hundreds of thousands of emails of support.
Are you suing these guys?
So I'm taking legal repercussion. I'm looking into it. But I know the ultimate victory is just my monumental success. The ultimate victory, the people are sitting there going, I thought we canceled this guy.
Yeah.
He's still here and everyone still loves him. I thought we lied about him. Why didn't the lie work? So that's the ultimate success. But yeah, it's kind of crazy, but God doesn't give us battles that we're not prepared to deal with. And it's also allowed me to emerge galvanized. So I learned that if they can take away my Uber account and my bank account and my payment processing and my things I didn't even use. In fact, the only people I replied to was Airbnb. Airbnb emailed me and said, Mr. Tate, in light of recent media coverage, our values and commitments to inclusion mean you are no longer welcome to use the platform, something. And it was signed by a guy called David. I remember seeing David. And I was getting all these emails in the same day. And the only one I replied to was Airbnb. I said, bro, I haven't used Airbnb in about 4.5 years. Like, why are you trying to feel included, banning me? I don't use your website. I don't know, they're just trying to jump in on the bandwagon. Let's ban him. I don't book your shit. I don't even remember making an account. I don't think I've ever stayed in an Airbnb in my life. I don't know why I even had an account, but they were desperate to ban me for some reason.
What's the reason? It is a bit crazy because there's a lot of people that are very famous that say a lot of outrageous things. I mentioned this in a video that I did where I mentioned you about like Cardi B, for instance, who used to drug men and steal from them.
Because she sold her soul. She's owned. Cardi B is owned. Record companies own her. She's paid money by sponsorship brands, etc. She has meetings in private rooms where people tell her what to say, what narratives to take. She is owned. She's an owned individual. I'm completely independent and sovereign. Which is why when they attempted to destroy all my financials, I realized that, just like I said earlier, you don't own anything like you think you do. I'm in a position now where I'm building my own bank. I thought, okay, fuck the banks, I'll build one. So I'm not gonna talk about how I'm doing that, but I'm building my own bank from the ground up. I will start my own bank, the Bank of Tate.
It sounds very exciting.
But that's the only way now. That's what you have to do, right? So now I'm in a position where like I need to fucking make a bank now.
Yeah.
So I guess I better go get it done. So I'm going to build my own bank, and that'll be interesting when we talk about once that's online and finished. Then in future podcasts we can talk about what it's like to own a bank. So we're going to talk about that. But yeah, it's the Matrix attacks, and they want everyone to march in lockstep. I'm not going to do that. I'm a logical actor. I'm a logical person. I think people have this idea out there that I'm crazy or I'm some weirdo or I don't know. I've heard some strange conspiracy theories about myself, but I'm obviously a very logical person. And truthfully, the meta point is that a lot of the people who dislike me don't live lives I'd want to live. So it's very easy for me to discredit their thinking. When someone goes, you're wrong. And I go, well, if I'm wrong, but I get to be me, and you're right, but you get to be you, perhaps being wrong is fine.
That's interesting, yeah.
Because a lot of them are not living existences I could tolerate. Yeah. So most of my biggest haters I can glance at and go, cool. I would never adopt their thinking. Because why would I want to think like somebody who I don't want to be?
When you were on YouTube, do you know what your ratio was of men and women?
No idea. I never had
never checked?
Never checked. And I never had a monetized video. So I was giving YouTube billions and billions of views. I never even monetized my videos. I didn't monetize any of it because I didn't think they'd even let me. In fact, when I first got 100K subs, I subscribed, I requested my plaque. You know, you get that plaque.
Oh, yeah.
And they said no.
Interesting.
They're like, no, sir. Then they banned me. So,
what's your message to the women? Because a lot of your videos seem very much kind of aimed at guys.
Yeah.
I've got a property company. I've also, as you know, got a training company. 50% of my customers are women.
Good.
Killing it in property.
Absolutely.
Absolutely smashing it.
Yeah.
My wife is my business partner.
Amazing.
We've been married 8 years, happily married.
Perfect.
Brilliant marriage.
Yeah, good.
She's helped me get a lot richer.
Yeah.
We're business partners.
Amazing.
Do you think that your message, and I know you're not this crazy person that the media make out, but do you not think that the way you are, referring to women as bitches?
Do I refer to women as bitches?
Yes, you do.
Okay, well, first things first, let's talk about that. If I make a joke or I say, oh yeah, I can't, you have to give me an example where I even say that, because I don't think I say that publicly, or I don't think I say that often. But every rap song says women are bitches anyway. Like, I'm not saying that it's okay to say, and I'm not saying that I view women that way, but to sit here and say that I call women bitches when every single song on the radio is talking about stabbing people and calling women bitches is kind of hypocritical. I don't call women bitches anyway. I don't think I do. You'd have to give me a very specific example of that. I'm very sure I don't.
Do you think that your attitude maybe, or the way that you come across towards women is a little bit maybe insulting towards women? Or, I know you inspire a lot of men.
Yeah.
50% of my audience are women. Yeah. And I want to train them up and empower them as well. So I'm mindful of...
I understand.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think people who watch my content in its long form understand that I talk about being a protector and a provider for women.
Yeah, you do.
I truthfully believe that men and women are very different. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're the same. I think we're very different. I don't think one is better than the other. I just think that the reason the world, a lot of the problems we're in today is based on the fact that we're forgetting that men and women are slightly different. Right. I think a lot of the problems can be brought back to that very simple point. I think women are better than men at a lot of things. I think men are better than women at some things. And that's what I say. Yeah. And I say in some scenarios, I would trust a man, and in some scenarios, I would trust a woman. And I don't believe they're interchangeable and exactly the same. And I think in most of the world, that's accepted as complete truth. In most of the world, they'll accept that a woman is better at this and a man is better at this. And if you work together, you're a perfect partnership and harmony. I don't mean to be disparaging or insulting to women, but I will say the truth. I will tell the truth. I will not sit and lie to the world. I'll say what I truly believe. I just think we do different things. And I think that that's how the world works in most of the world today.
When it comes to business.
Business, listen, men make money, women make money. Making money is fine. Men have advantages, women have advantages. Business just proves my point further. The advantages that women have in business are different than the advantages men have in business. I knew when I was doing sales jobs, women who were very beautiful, who did fantastic in sales. They could use beauty and going on that. They could get all the appointments they wanted. Oh, it was hard for me to get a guy to come to dinner. They could get the dinners. They could get the dinners all day. I don't know how good they were at sales. They may not have been as good as some of the other people in the office, but they got so many more leads that they closed more. Her advantages were different than the man's advantages, right? So saying that men and women are different is not disparaging or insulting to either one of them. I've been making videos on the internet for a long time. Sure, I can't sit here and honestly say, because I'm a professional, I don't lie, I can't sit here and honestly say I didn't say at some point, hey, this dickhead came in with his bitch, when I'm telling a story. I probably did say that. But I tell you, I insult men just as much, just the same. It's not gendered. And if you watch my stories, I probably say this bitch was running her mouth. I probably do say that. I also say, and this dickhead got hit. So it's not about man and woman. It's just about some people are dickheads and idiots. And that's what it's about. It's not gendered about man and women. All the women who are in my life and any woman who's anywhere near me is very protected, very provided for. It's a traditional gender role where I believe that all the money making responsibility is on me. Now, if I met a woman who was making a bunch of money, I'm not going to be like, damn it, stop. Well, good. Yeah. Do it. But
it's interesting that with my training business, 50% are women. Yeah. And they're smashing it.
Well, I think that women would also be very, very good at property. Obviously, I don't know anything about it like you, but I think when it comes to things like interior design or taking the time to be more meticulous about how it particularly looks,
I'm talking sales, systemization,
perfect.
Marketing.
Amazing. Amazing. Well,
and my wife, when I got married, my net worth was about 500 grand.
Yeah.
Within 7 years of being married, my net worth was 20 million. We're business partners.
Amazing. No, but it's good to have. But I've never said women can't make money. And I've never said that women, like in my university is full of women. There's a bunch of women inside of my, yeah, there's women inside my house. I wouldn't say 50%. Yeah. Maybe 20%. Because I appeal to men with my advertising.
Do you have a daughter?
If I had children, I would not be able to say on the internet. I could have 3, I could have 10.
What do you think about the World Economic Forum?
Bro, you're trying to get me suicided.
No, I did a video recently about the World Economic Forum. It had just shy of 1 million views on YouTube and a lot of interesting comments.
Yeah, I think it's very coincidental that every single leader of all the important countries in the world seems to come from the World Economic Forum. So I encourage people at home to do their own research, along with fractional reserve banking and mortgage and interest rates and everything else. Look at the.
You know, I tried to join the World Economic Forum.
Did you?
It's £500,000 a year. I offered to pay them and they declined.
That's a shame.
It would have been interesting.
Yeah, it's not only about money, is it? Yeah, it's about so you have to sell your soul to one degree or another. And that's the thing was scary about those organizations, because if you did join it, I said this on another podcast, so I'll say it again. Well, at the height of my fame, I started getting very strange invites.
Yeah.
I started getting weird invites, from a friend of a friend of a friend who had like a private island in Greece, or a friend of a friend of a friend who was doing this private event. It was always on private islands, very private, like 10 guys, 400 girls. And I thought maybe this is just debauchery and degeneracy, but maybe also they're going to drug my drink, or there's cameras everywhere, or you don't know this stuff and they get leverage over you. So I was saying no to all of it. But if I was a degenerate individual and sex hungry or whatever, like a lot of these celebrities are, they end up getting leverage over you. And then you're in real trouble. Then you have to shut up when they tell you to shut up. World's scary, man. But as for the WEF, well, we can, like I said, I encourage everyone to do their own research. But back to the woman's point. I don't think women can't make money. I don't know. And I'm not surprised that half of the women who work with you make a bunch of money. I'm not surprised. Like I said, about 20% of the people inside of my university are women. I think that my advertising style is more geared to men because I talk about men's issues. But the reason I talk about men's issues is because I'm a man. Mm-hmm. Why would I sit here and talk about how hard it is to be a girl? I can talk about why I think it's difficult to be a girl, but I can't talk about growing up as a girl because I'm not a girl. I might have just misgendered myself. Sorry, YouTube. But I'm not a girl. I don't know. So,
have you got like one girlfriend who you see as a life partner? I'm not trying to get you in trouble with your girlfriends that watch this at home.
I'm a man of God. I'm a Christian man, and I live true.
But Christianity believes in marriage, bro.
Does it?
Yeah.
I'm married then.
I mean, you live with your brother, don't you? How's that work out? Is that like a long term? When you're 67, you're gonna live with your bro and be sleeping with loads of young girls?
All right, whoa. I wouldn't say young. Okay, firstly, I don't know what you mean by young. Attractive, yeah, and attractiveness and youth are linked to a degree. But yeah, I will be living with my brother forever because I think that masculine competition is a healthy environment to bring out the best in yourself. If you look at any fighter who's training for a fight, he's not going to live with his wife. He's going to live with other men. You're going to live the last few weeks before a fight. Mike Tyson, whatever, would move away from their wife and live in a house with just guys. Like, it's kind of like the army mentality. It's good for your mentality. If you want to be the absolute peak version of yourself, I think that you can achieve that by being in a competitive environment with other competitive men. If I live with just a woman, which sometimes obviously I do, if I stay with a woman, it's very comfortable. It's very comfortable. It's a great place. Like, just food, she's nice, let's watch TV, calm down, don't worry. It's a very comforting place, which is great, but I don't think that comfort brings out the best in me. Whereas if I live with my brother, he's like, I've just done 600 push-ups, you're a pussy. Then I have to do 601. Then he does 602. Then he does 603.
It's interesting.
And that's it, and there's competitiveness. If I'm hanging with my boys and we're all talking about how much money we made that week, it pisses me off. If I'm hanging with my girl, we don't talk about that, really. Or if we do, we're on the same team, so it's different.
Do you not think that
to be the best version of yourself, you need competition.
Well,
without competitiveness, without competition, how are you going to be the best version of yourself? Right? You're always going to do better and run further and push harder against someone else. So having that friendly, competitive element is how you become the best version of yourself. So that's why I like living with my brother for that reason.
Do you not think, though, if you found a woman who you could be your business partner with, and do you not think, can you never see just getting married, being with one woman, having kids, having a family home, living close to your brother? My brother lives 2-minute walk away from me. We're business partners. He's got his family. I've got my family. Does that not appeal to you at all? Is there nothing about that where you think, you know what, maybe?
God has a plan.
Yeah.
We will see.
Yeah. What do you want to be remembered for?
God also has a plan for that. I think I'm going to be remembered positively. I've not snaked anyone. I've not lied to anyone. I don't lie to people. I don't scam people. I don't do anybody harm. I try my very, very best to live a peaceful life. I think I'll be remembered for being one of the first major voices in the breaking of the big tech monopoly. That's going to be exciting. Since I've moved over to Rumble, the world's already began to change in real time. Russell Brand's now moved over. Steve will do it, one of the Nelk boys, and big Twitch streamers, big YouTubers are all moving over. I started all of it a month ago.
Yeah.
And they've just gone public. So that's $RUM on the NASDAQ. I think across the next 10 years, as YouTube continue their censorship, especially with the elections coming up and these kind of things, and they continue their censorship and people get more and more tired of it, they're going to be moving to alternative platforms. So I think Rumble stock's going to go to the moon. There's a tip for everyone who's looking to make money. That'll make me a billionaire. And then what am I going to do? Buy more cars.
Yes.
What else is there to do?
What is it that you love about cars so much? Because you have, 28 supercars. How much, I Googled how much it is to buy a Bugatti. Could not believe it. Because I thought, a couple
mine's not a normal one.
How much did you pay for it?
By the time I got it on the road with everything, 5.2.
Damn. Yeah. How do you justify that?
Because it's beautiful. I'd rather have the car than the money. That's how I justify it. I'm at the point now where I used to love them because I love to drive. And I live in Romania where they have beautiful mountain roads and there's no real speed limits at my level of influence. So I can drive however I want. So the whole place is like a racetrack.
Right.
And my hobby would just be, if I ever took time off work, would just be to drive 3-4 hours to the mountains, stay in a nice hotel, drive. I just love to drive around Europe. I drive to the Alps, drive through Switzerland, blah, blah. But now I'm kind of too busy to drive. So now I just buy them because when I say money isn't real, I'll give you an example. Before I was too famous to walk the street, every time I walked past an ATM, I would get out as much as I could. I'd get the maximum cash. I was with a girl a couple years ago, and she goes, "Why do you do that?" And I said, "Because it's free money." She goes, "Why is it free money?" I was like, "Because if my bank balance is 17,184,938, and I go get 900 quid out, and it's 17,932,914, I don't know the math. It looks the same. It's the same. But I have £900 now. I can waste it. So the money's free. And the point, even though obviously it's not free, the number's been reduced, but it doesn't affect the number. It looks the same. So you get to a point where money has no value at all. It's not real. So if someone goes to me, "There's a new Ferrari. Do you want it?" And I think, do I want it? Maybe I might one day look at it and go, "That's nice. That's worth 500 grand to me." To just look at it and go, "It's a nice car on the driveway." That's worth it because the money has no value. So it's like, well, fuck it then. Everything is free. I try and explain this to people what it's like to be really, truly, truly rich. Everything is free. Nothing has a price. No matter what I want, it's basically free. Outside of mega yachts and the most expensive properties on the planet, everything is free. So it's just, do I want something at all? Even if I only want it 1%, I'll take it. The hotel I stay in London, I stay in it, and let's say it's supposed to be £2,500 a night. I get a suite every time for £9,000 a night because the shower head is different. I like the shower head. A shower head is worth 7 G's a night to me because the money has the money is so invaluable that tiny things are worth everything. Does that make sense? I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah,
the world's free. I just walk around and everything's free. Do I want it? A tiny bit, yeah. And then so we'll take it then because the money doesn't mean anything. That's kind of how it feels you get to a certain level of wealth. And that's why I say money's not real. It's not real. None of it's real. And another thing I will quickly say, people say, "What's the coolest thing about being rich?" The three coolest things about being rich, I will say here.
There's three.
There's three. One, and it's only fun because I get to compare it to the brokey days, is eating whatever I want. And I know that sounds stupid. But like going into a restaurant and going, "I want all 4 of those things. That sounds good. Give me all 4." And having a little bit of each one and then fucking it off. Just having thousands of pounds bills of food. That's the first thing that's cool. The second thing that is absolutely and utterly a life hack is time travel, is private jets. I could not go back to flying normally. It changes, private jets change the world.
How much does it cost when you go on a plane?
If I fly from London to Bucharest, 40 grand.
Okay, so it's not crazy.
It's not crazy, but like I do it 2 or 3 times a week or 2 times a month. I spend $500,000 a month on jets probably because it allows you to time travel.
Do you plan to buy your own jet?
There's advantages and disadvantages to that. I was thinking about doing it, but truthfully, a lot of the time, especially in the summer, I drive around Europe, right? So if I drive from Bucharest to Switzerland, now I've got to fly my plane empty there and find staff, and it's easier just to get to charter one.
Yeah.
But the reason private jets are cool is because they're time travel, because you remove all the bullshit either end with the airport. So what I'll often do, like I left my house at 9:01 this morning. I remember seeing 9:01. I drove to the airport, private terminal, 9:15 I got there. there was nobody in there, so 3 minutes through to passport, security, everything. I was on the jet by 9:20. And then, because there's a 2-hour time difference, I landed in England at 10:30.
That's crazy.
I left my house at 9, I'm in England by 10.
Convenience, speed.
Yeah, so if this interview ends now and I decide I want to go home, I can make a phone call and I can be home in time for bed. It's a 2.5 hour flight to Bucharest, but it takes 2.5 hours to get out of central London in a car most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's like time travel.
Yeah.
So jets are super cool because they're time travel, because the number of times I've gone to 4 countries in a day, boom, interview, boom, 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 boom. I go Czech Republic, Warsaw, Germany, Austria in a day, jet, bang, bang, bang. That's cool. Food's cool, private jets are cool. And the only other thing that's really cool is you realize that the rich people of the world have done very good in convincing the poor people of the world that rich people aren't happy.
Yeah.
They've done a great job of that.
So true.
They say, oh, he's rich, but he's probably miserable.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he give his money away then? You ever seen a rich person give all their money away? I haven't. Have you? I mean, and if he is miserable, the money's not making him miserable. Like, maybe it's something else. Of course, money can't buy happiness. I agree. But money is the third most important thing in the world. First is your health, because you have nothing if you're going to die. Second is your relationships, because you need love and family. That matters the most. But money can buy everything else. So money's the third most important thing. But using your money to have relationships and friendships are amazing for me. I think that knowing I have friends who live in Japan, but we can say, fuck it, let's meet up. Or let's meet up. Oh, you're in Japan? Okay, cool. Maldives. Bang, boom. That's cool.
Yeah.
The money allows you to be closer to people. I have more friends because I'm rich, not less. I have more friends. I have better relationships. I think a lot of people who argue, you're saying your marriage is fantastic. That's good. I think a lot of marriage arguments are about money.
Yeah, it's true.
I think a lot of them are.
Yeah.
So people say, oh, he's rich, but he's not happy. I bet if you were rich, you'd have a better relationship with your woman. I bet you'd have a less stressful time at home. You'd have more friends. Like, it's amazing for relationships. That's the coolest thing about it.
That's one of the reasons why I probably haven't argued. Because even though I wasn't rich, I was still worth $500,000. I was doing okay.
Completely.
And then we've not been short of money.
It's just another source of stress, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so it's another thing not to worry about.
Yeah. Talk to me about this then, man, because when I went to Beverly Hills, I hired some supercars.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a massive car guy.
Okay.
So I got like a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Had it for about a week. Then I got a Ferrari. And personally, I know you love driving fast and that.
Yeah.
The speed bumps, going to the cinema, going to the car park, I couldn't even reach out to get out the car. I was just like, this is crap. Yeah. When I got back, I was just enjoying my Range Rover.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's an acquired.
No, it depends on the country. In America, for sure, I agree with you. In America, I wouldn't even have cars.
Another thing is this, sorry to cut you.
Sure.
Like when we last met.
Yeah.
Your car, bro.
It's true.
Like you literally.
I had a brand new.
I had to pick you up in my Range Rover.
I know. I had a brand new limited edition 1,100 horsepower Porsche and it wouldn't start.
But it wouldn't start. Right. And then literally you were messing around, faffing around, and I'm thinking, you know what, I can't be doing with this. I want my big fat Range that massages me and has a fridge in it. I'm done.
Well, I have both. I have a Range too. I have a Range too. But no, you're right. But everything that's beautiful in life comes with headache. It's kind of like sometimes my cars mess up and they're headache, and I try and explain it like if you get a beautiful girlfriend, sometimes she's headache. You get a beautiful car, sometimes it's headache. Yeah. That's life, right? But they're a hobby now. But Romania and Europe, I think, is beautiful to drive in. And maybe it comes back into that old story of me seeing the guy in the Ferrari. It's kind of funny. I have another similar story, probably the last story I'll tell. I told about the Ferrari driving past me in college. I'll give you another story. I was selling TV advertising, and I had a meeting in Seven Oaks, Kent, on a Monday morning to go down to sell television advertising. And on Sunday afternoon, I was eating in Nando's in Luton, in the Galaxy Center, and I watched a van. I watched it happen. I was eating, and I saw a van just reversing, and I just watched it reverse into my car. I was like, you're fucking kidding me. I went out there, he gave me insurance details, whatever, but the front of my car is messed up now, yeah? But I had this meeting, so I had to drive this busted BMW down to this meeting. And I just thought, I'll park far away so the guy doesn't see my broken car. Because I'm selling something prestigious. TV advertising is expensive, it's prestige, you can't go. It's not anymore, but it was back then. So I'm driving my broken BMW, I get to Kent, just went along the M25, whatever. And I'm sitting there at the traffic lights at about 10 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and this Aston Martin pulls up next to me with the roof down. And it had a Swedish number plate, Sweden. And it was a guy and this blonde chick, and they were blaring music. And I was sitting there in my BMW with a broken front, and I kind of didn't want to give him I didn't want to look because I wanted to make him feel good. But I kind of glanced and I thought, this prick, he's from Sweden. Why is he in Kent Where did he come from? It's Tuesday. He's listening to music. He's got this hot chick. He ain't going to work. What's he doing? And here I am in this broken car. Anyway, I went to the meeting, didn't even get the deal, blah, blah, blah. Long story short. Maybe that's kind of like world going full circle, because now I drive through Romania.
Yeah.
And I have a hot chick next to me in my Lambo or my Bugatti or my Ferrari, whatever. And the Romanian kid looks at me and goes, how's this English guy in this Lamborghini with this hot chick? He ain't going to work. It's kind of like the world's like, I'm now him. Yeah. It's kind of cool from that perspective. Maybe that's why I love cars. I don't know. A lot of my stories on me realizing how the matrix needs to be broken were semi-related to cars, because when you start seeing a car the price of a house, and then you start seeing people with 30 of them, that's got to wake you up. That's got to wake you up. That I try and say this to people. Let's imagine, what's a good wage in England? 100 grand a year?
100 grand, yeah.
100 grand a year, good wage, yeah? What's that, on 100 grand, what are you paying, 40 or 50% tax?
Probably about 40%.
Okay, so let's say you're getting 60 grand a year. Let's imagine you're earning 100 grand a year. You're successful inside of the matrix. You're a successful slave. You make 60 grand a year. Let's imagine you can live for free, eat for free, you walk to work, you never buy clothes. Let's imagine you save 100% of your money, 60 grand each year. I don't want to do the math off the top of my head, but my Bugatti was 5.2. What is that? Is that like 90 years?
It's a lifetime of saving.
That's a lifetime of slave work without spending a penny ever once. To by the time you're a fucking geriatric and can't function, you might be able to buy one of my 30 cars. If that does not tell you the matrix must be cracked and there's other ways to make money, then nothing fucking will. Yeah. Because if you think you're just going to work your way to the top and just stick to the rules, you're a dummy. No, you won't. You need to find modern wealth creation methods. You need to hack real estate like you've obviously done. I teach how to do it my way inside of Hustlers University, which is on CobraTate.com. Or you need a strong network. You can't just be sitting here thinking, it'll just happen one day, because no, it fucking will not, because you're competing against men like me, and we're taking it all.
What was it that made you agree to sit down with myself?
I knew we had some opposing viewpoints.
Which have come out.
Yeah, and no, but it makes it better that way.
Yeah.
Than agreeing on everything. I know we had some opposing viewpoints, so I thought it'd be good to meet. When I come to London, I like to stay busy. I don't do anything leisurely here. I think that London is a failed society. I'll say that on camera. I think that's falling apart in real time. I think by every metric it can be measured by, in terms of the cost of things, the crime rate, the general happiness index of the people, how often the trains are late, how dirty the streets are. Anything you can measure, London is failing. So when I come here, it's purely just business obligations. And I knew we'd have an interesting talk, so I thought, well, let's go and meet Samuel.
Well, it's been very interesting and enjoyable.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.
Cheers, bro.
Stay in touch.
Thanks, friend.
Thank you.